This program is rated MA. It contains adult themes, coarse language, sexual references, and violence.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Friday night. Open comms. We are here. I'm Drayden. We got Dirk McGurk here with us. We got Rain. We got Blast 'em to Hell. Matterall is joining us as well. How's it going, man?
Really good.
And then from the initiative.
Did you just do jazz hands?
Yeah, jazz
No.
hands. Spirit fingers.
I like the jazz hands. That was
It was
good.
a-
He waved with two hands.
Yeah.
And then from the initiative, we have Brisk Rubal. He's also running for CSM this year. How's it going, man?
How's it hanging?
It's coming straight from the Oval Office as well. So
Oh, yeah.
he's already indoctrinated. The votes are already in. We're
Coming
just,
from the studios at Fox News headquarters.
Wait, I'm on the wrong show. I was supposed to be on Shepard Smith tonight.
Oh, well, this is the same thing. I mean, might as well be.
There you go. Close enough.
All right, so yeah, we're back. And also, sorry about the intro. It still has Drunk Canadian on there, but
It's okay. We don't. It's not like
Do
we
we-
gotta
do we
like.
He's not dead.
do
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
he's
We
not
didn't
dead,
bury
but
him.
like, do we just keep it with him in there just as like
No,
a-
well, no. We'll eventually get rid of it when we're not,
Well, it could be like a
totally
like a keepsake,
lazy and
you know,
can
like
redo it.
we could just say like he's never left because he's at the start of every show.
Should
There you go.
upscale the joint and leave Brisk here on. He's
Oh,
got,
Lord.
he's got an actual drinking.
No,
glass.
yeah, but
Yes.
I see some
he's got a
Maker's
legit
Mark.
career out there that does not need to be denigrated or diminished in any way.
Well, I see he's got some Maker's Mark on the back table. So
Exactly right.
Let's get him drunk, get him into a compromised position, take photos, and ruin his campaign.
That doesn't matter anymore.
yeah,
As
it
long as I'm
doesn't
not
matter.
paying these strippers off, I'm okay.
That's
Oh, man.
that's
Even
what
then, I'm
E
probably-
Vegas
Oh my
is all
God.
about.
how many times did you tap your foot in the stall?
I have a wide stance.
Yeah,
What do
exactly.
you want from me?
But yeah, okay, so we did have him on. Actually had him on because number one, he's been hanging out with us over in Talking in Stations Discord and stuff like that, and just been around talking, and we've had some really interesting conversations and things along those lines. But he's also running for CSM, and we are going to get to that in a little bit. We're probably going to hit a few news items. Drayden, did you get sunburned today or something?
I did. I didn't know it'd come through on the camera. I did get sunburn. I was doing a lot of work outside
It's
today.
blotchy or it's a little like
Well,
redness.
I was out doing. There wasn't anywhere to go today, so I was out doing a lot of like work out around the shop.
Need
Landscaping
more time in the
shit.
green room with the makeup artist.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think the back of my neck is like really sunburnt, but yeah, it happens. I'm
Now,
There you
Brisket, have you done television stuff from the chair that you're sitting in there? Or
I have done radio stuff from the chair that I'm
Okay.
in here. I have not done any TV stuff. And then you can see my Twitch stream of me playing PUBG very badly, but other than that, not a whole hell of a lot coming out of the office.
How much
Podcast,
do you
but not
stream?
so. Huh?
How much do you stream?
Not as much as I should. The guys like to do it every once in a while, and mainly it's just so we can watch. Me and some of the guys from the corp love to go out and play, and invariably there's somebody hits me with a car, and that's like the highlight of the night. So it's like a rule. Brisk has to get hit by a car, or we're not actually playing PUBG.
That's a terrible rule, but it's also hilarious.
Pretty much.
well, anyways, we're gonna knock out a couple of just small news items here, just to get them out of the way. I just want to remind everybody that that this coming Tuesday is what I'm referring to as ESI Y2K. This is when all of this stuff is changing over from the current API.
What do you mean Y2K?
because you don't know what's going to happen here.
It's-
Okay,
millennials don't even know.
I want to.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I just wanted to trigger him.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people out there that don't really know what Y2K is, other than maybe somewhere around their birth date or whatever. But yeah, I'm not saying that this is going to result in your toaster like coming to kill you or anything like that. Although I'm not putting anything by the new API, since it's got like write commands in there and whatnot.
Well, if you give it permissions, it might.
Yeah. I may have. There may be a control Dirk's toaster like in that Imperium token I clicked on. But anyways, that's coming this Tuesday. So there are likely going to be things that are going to break. There will be people out there who are not prepared for this, and some of the third-party apps that you're using. So it will be interesting to see how that all kind of plays out. Who was prepared? They've been working on this for over a year. In terms of working with the dev community out there. So, I know it was only in the last couple of days that we in TNT went through our conversion. In fact, I clicked the buttons today, to be able to make all that stuff. I know the Imperium's one has been around in beta for a while, but has been functional for some time now. I know other organizations in the past few weeks have changed over on their authorization side of the business. But all of these other third-party devs out there, like we said before, Evemon probably not, is not going to be, at least for now, going to be functional after Tuesday. Other ones out there look like they're going to be.
A couple. Eve Cost was a manufacturing third-party site. That was something I used quite a bit back when I was manufacturing. And I looked at that, and I think the last update for that was like a year ago. I'm like, that's probably not going to work anymore. So various stuff like that. So if you have a third-party site, just check its last update date. If it's been a long-ass time, it probably won't work.
So it just won't work, or it'll lie to you?
No, I don't think it won't work for any of those feeds that it would have gotten from the API.
Yeah, because API and Crest, they're just going to shut down those services altogether. So if it's trying to pull a data call, I don't know if that's what you call it, but where it's trying to call data, it's not going to receive anything. So
okay, well,
so it'll probably just drop links.
It's better than lying to you, right? Saying, yeah, you can build this for half the cost of what it actually is.
I'm thinking one of the things that is going to break is that when you go out and use your third-party app to find out what Fortizar are safe to jump to, it's going to lie to you.
Fake Fortizars. Fake free
Some
ports.
of us don't use tools like that.
But yeah, anyway, so that's coming this Tuesday. So look, if your shit looks squirrely or it's not working, then guess what? That's what it is, and the developers of that third-party app, just haven't gotten it up and running yet, or aren't, or whatever. So yeah, that's
as long as zKillboard works, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that will work.
Yep.
They were, I believe, zKillboard was one of the first few that were working with CCP on that.
Dotland looks like it's going to be working.
Yeah, Dotland. And Dat Faultier just sub. Thanks, man. Thanks for the sub.
There was a cool one called Skill Tracker. I like that one. Anybody use that one?
I think I used that a long time ago.
Yeah, it gave you real world badges so that you could plan appropriately. Because sometimes you don't need the fifth level of whatever it is. So it gave you if you really want to be a logistics pilot, this is really what you need. Not the stuff that CCP says to maximize. You need this or that.
Oh, the masteries versus
it was
what was legitimate.
That one level 5 shield that everybody trained but you never needed.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like somebody went through and interpreted skills and made real world scenarios for skills that you needed. Real world, what are they called? Not proficiencies.
When you say
certificates,
real world,
real world and Eve.
Thank you, Cody TFX. Thank you, Cody TFX, for the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you.
And Beardmagician cheered 100 bits as well. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
when you're saying real world, you mean ability to drive level 4 or something like that?
No, not real life, but actual skills that you actually need that most people have. Because a lot of times you don't overskill yourself to get into something, but nobody does that, right? You have to learn that from your corp mates or your alliance, or this site kind of did that for you. It interpreted what actual skills you needed to do a certain job.
I'm guessing it's no longer running then?
Yep, it's probably dead. Moot point.
I feel like we'll have to figure out on Tuesday, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of stuff that just stops working because I mean, aside from like
Hey,
the big
I'm all
ones,
for it.
like
I'm
we
all
said,
for it
Zkillboard and
because-
Dotland, keyboard.
Well,
like,
yeah,
ones like that will, but I mean, like a lot of these just kind of off apps just probably won't.
Like Eve Skunk probably be broke for a while.
I'm fine if Eve Skunk breaks. Like, I don't know if anyone ever loved that.
Eve Skunk, I guess, could theoretically, yeah, absolutely, right? I mean, it's only a matter
But
of time
Squiz,
until somebody
Squiz
punches
updates
something
the
up.
Eve Skunk. Yeah, Squiz updates Eve Skunk anyway. So if he's doing Zkill, he might be at the same
He'll
time.
do both.
He'll do both, yeah. But I think Zkill is probably the more priority here when the ESI comes out.
I want to say Zkill's been doing ESI for a while. I think when I last offed on Zkill.
They were part of the beta. They were
okay.
Yeah, like Fuzzworks, Steve Nukin's thing. And Zkill.
Mogul.
There was
I mean,
there was like 3 or 4 others
lot
that
of
were
your
helping
big
them
name
in the
stuff.
beta to help test it and stuff before they actually started releasing it.
Yep.
But Evemon is not going over ESI. I think that's all completely stopped in
I
development.
mean, all those people out there that were just kind of running those Google spreadsheets, Crest type links and stuff like that. That stuff will all break unless they've gone and done their thing. But so like if you were using something,
fixing that so far.
What was that?
I've heard there have been some very creative ways of fixing that. Of ESIs that link to the spreadsheets that link back to API, so it all works out. So.
But if you were using like some spreadsheet that a buddy of yours gave you from a cousin of his who
Right.
that may obviously stop working. So, but we'll see what happens.
I actually forgot the name of the site that I was talking about to answer somebody's question in their chat there, but I'll find it before the show's over.
Skill something. You said.
Yeah, well,
I can't even remember. Like you mentioned, you said like a skill.
There's one called
skill trainer.
There's one called eveskillplan.net. That is not the one I'm talking about. I'll find it before the show's over.
But anyways, Rain, did you want to mention the John Bellicose thing or?
Yeah, so I wasn't here last week, and I don't think you guys mentioned it, but I wasn't here last week.
Oh, that's right, you weren't,
yeah. So John Bellicose Day, or
we pretended like you were.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But that was last week Saturday. So I know Mom Bellicose and Sis Bellicose, along with Brave, as well as like many other people in the game, went out lighting sinos, taking photos, sort of like that Remembrance Day of those who have gone. But yeah, I figured it was worth at least mentioning or giving them a shout out for, because I mean, a lot of times people don't really talk about that, or it's one of those more like I don't know, like hard realities, I guess, of EVE Online. And when you play games with people online, sometimes they go. And that's what happens.
Yeah, I don't remember what. I mean, this has been around now. I want to say about 3 years.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that I think that they've been doing that. Now, they actually started off having the John Bellicose Day even before Mom Bellicose and Sis Bellicose ended up coming in to play EVE. But both, I mean, they were with us out in Vegas last year. We partied with them on multiple nights out there, and now they're both in Brave, and I saw them tweeting out stuff the other day, regarding this, and they're training up skills and learning how to light sinos and.
Well, it's right. Yeah, she said that was her first Sino, so I'm assuming that she trained up the skills for Sino for this. So
the pictures on Reddit were pretty cool. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that many Sinos in a system ever.
It's kind of it's kind of neat, the way we do have sort of these. I mean, Eve is just kind of this. Every year, stuff like this comes along, and I end up sitting there thinking, it's just not a game. It's not entirely just a game, right? I mean, there is something more to this. It's a hobby. It is a social world simulator kind of a thing. I mean, it's a game front end with all of these other things that are kind of attached to it. And when you start sitting there and remembering players of the game, whether it be BC or John Bellicose in this situation, or other players that have gone before us, kind of a thing. I mean, that's a completely different scenario.
I think I fell apart when the kid said he was playing with his grandfather, and his grandfather really liked the I don't know, was it the Ishkur or the what's the battleship for Galente, the potato?
The Dominix.
Dominix. Or the Dominix. I forget what ship it was that he liked, because it reminded him of a boot in space. And I think I actually cried when I read that, because it's like losing your grandfather is pretty rough. But after 15 years, we're seeing that. I mean,
when we started playing this game, I was like 27, 26. Now we're in our 40s. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, this game's been around a long time.
Yeah, and now you look like a founding father.
Right, exactly. I don't look like a punk kid anymore. I got gray in my hair. Like if my bosses keep telling me I need a scar or something because I got a baby face.
You don't have your spiked hair anymore.
I know, right? It's not blue.
I guess you'll move on just real quick here to Event T is looking for player commentators. Well, Rain, you might as well talk about that since you've been a player commentator.
So yeah, no, the transition. So CCP in the past had hosted, I believe it was almost always the final 2 weekends of the tournament. This year, the production is all going to Event T, and so I know a lot of people have been saying how they are sort of like nervous, like they don't know if going and hang out in like for Eve Nottingham or in the UK doesn't sound as exciting as Iceland, but Event T has the full support of CCP, so.
What do you mean it doesn't sound as exciting as Iceland?
Well, I mean, like, because when you get to say, oh, we get to go and hang out in the dev studio, that's a bit different than saying, oh, we get to go hang out in the normal professional studio with
where Robin Hood is from.
Look, I'll be bluntly honest. Watching it last year, I enjoyed the Event T coverage better.
Oh yeah.
Than the CCP coverage in Iceland. I thought it was better done. I thought it was
hands down the production value is a lot higher with
and yeah. Well, that's a lot of reason why like CCP is putting faith in, contracting with Event T. So this isn't just like Event T is volunteering. Like Event T is like, now I don't want to say getting paid, but they are helping being funded by CCP, and CCP is, as far as I know, willing to commit at least a couple of devs to fly out there. So it's not like this is all going to be all run by players, all run by volunteers, kind of like hodgepodge. Like CCP is going to be running the for the AT, for those who don't know, they're going to be running all the refereeing in the back end, so none of that is being run by players. That's all devs. But then they're also, as far as I'm aware and as far as I could possibly guess, they're going to send devs over to Eve Nottingham. And so if people have ever wanted the chance to do like Eve Sports, if they think, like, oh, I flew in the tournament in the past, I feel like I could commentate, like, definitely feel free to give it a shot. And I would say, like, I know this year, so I'm not applying. I believe I'm already going out there, and I know like anyone in the UK is technically quote unquote not applying. So like people know Jintan, who was there last year. Like I think he's just going and helping Event T anyway. So I know there was some talk that I heard from others saying like they don't want to try out because they're worried about like the quote unquote competition of applying if there's only 2 slots. A lot of people are already like not either already going or they're not like applying. So like Sutonia, Jintan, Bay RJ, like they're already there helping the team, and they just want more international people. They want the opportunity to invite players out to commentate, because that's the real draw of like the AT from a production end, and they want people to be able to strive for that.
Right.
Well, so that apply. It's so what are they going to tell you? No.
Well, and the thing is, they want people that are knowledgeable about the game. Now the thing is, like the deadline to sending in your application is May 6th. So you've only got a couple days to do this. So
yeah, that's like Sunday.
If you are interested, Dirk put in chat the link for the thing, and in that link it will show you like the email you need to send stuff to. What they want is some video possibly of you. They said like, commentate a tournament, like mute whatever commentary is already there, but like kind of commentate it yourself. They want to see that you are comfortable in front of a camera, microphone, stuff like that, and send it into them, and then some personal information.
So like anyone who, because like, yeah, anyone is like more than willing to apply. I almost want to say I think CCP has some sway in who gets picked as well, but I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, so like send in anything you have. Like,
yeah, they got sway, not Dirk McGurk.
Yeah, but I mean, like so Dirk, like you have like no commentary experience, right, for like an alliance.
How
like
do you know?
He's got like
you don't know
4
what are the
years.
games I play.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you as an F1 monkey with no commentary experience could still apply and still like put in a good faith of like, 1, you're good on camera, 2, you know the game and the community, and then you could practice commentating, and that would probably give you at least a reasonable shot.
Look at that shield bar going down.
What's commentating? Tell us how to commentate.
What is commentating?
Yeah, what is commentating?
So there's like there's multiple styles of commentating, right? Like some people really focus on what is happening at like on screen, like describe what's happening on screen with excitement, give like a little bit more color, and then you have like analytical sort of commentary where instead of describing what's on screen, they're saying why it's happening. Like, why are they primarying this ship? Why are they primarying that ship? Why did they bring these ships over that? Like, why a Guardian instead of an Oneros, or why an Oneros instead of a Guardian? Things like that. So there are different styles. So like, I'm like definitely not a quote unquote knowledgeable or analytical commentator by any means. Like my Eve knowledge is not the greatest compared to say, some of you guys who've been playing for years. But at the same time, I know enough to where I can take that.
None of us here, just so you know.
Yeah. I was like, you're probably way better at anything that I would do. So.
But I mean, I understand tournaments enough, and I understand Eve enough, and then I can add excitement and commentary behind it. So like that's kind of like how I tailor myself as a commentator. Like I know enough to sit there and I can describe what's happening on screen. I can describe it probably accurately. I can maybe make a really good judgment as to why people are doing what they're doing, but I really focus on hyping it up. And so it's just one of those
squealing.
One of those things.
You're
like getting excited.
You gotta,
but
you gotta sound something like this, like Hydra. They brought 9 ibises in a Drake Navy issue. Let's see how this works out for them.
Yeah, and I mean,
I like that underside.
Holy shit, Hydra fucking won.
Yeah,
and they did.
I want to see. I want to see someone get into like the full on like sports commentary, like
like
start
soccer?
like calling names to play. It's like just coming up with names like he's doing the roundhouse Chuck Norris pulling a fast one, and then he just jumped right out of the ring. He pulling the suicide. It's a what is it? Bold strategy con.
Let's see how it works out for him. The Osprey Navy issue left behind. Oh no, he's going to get primaried. Medic velocity goes down.
I mean, it's like I'm not smooth enough to do it, but I want to see someone that can roll with that, just because that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm encouraging.
We're burning up time that people could be applying.
Nah, everyone should go apply. I really want people to apply because, like, one, I'm probably going to go out there and see people anyway. But two, it's a really great experience. Like, if you're in the UK, you should just definitely apply anyway because I'm like almost like 75% sure EVNT would be like, you know what? We could totally use more people in the UK helping. Well, yeah,
that guy can carry a case of beer. Let's get him in here.
He can work ununionized.
Sorry,
as
that
a
was
local.
Boston.
And I mean,
there you go.
Even
That's a great idea.
I mean, even in the UK, if you don't want to do commentary or desk work or be on camera, they need people behind the scenes. Like I know there are like some of the streamers that they have, like Biohazard is sitting there for like 8 hours running the stream, making sure everything's done. He really doesn't get a break at all.
And doing graphs.
So if they get people like coming in and helping, like I just encourage everyone to apply. If you're interested, definitely get involved. Like it always like breaks my heart when people are like, oh, I'm interested, but I don't really know. Maybe I'm not that good. It's like, no, go out there and apply.
So what's the worst that can happen? They say no.
Get told no.
Yeah.
So what? You've lost nothing.
Yeah, and it's
Frisk, if you ever type again,
sorry,
how did you type while keyed up?
It's just
is
my
every
guys are telling
key
me that
your
I'm too
push to
soft,
talk?
so I
No,
turn the mic.
Dirk, there's this magic thing where you use a mouse button for a push to talk. That's what I do. Because there's just too many keys that I use for various games, and it's like my thumb mouse button is used for one thing, push to talk, and that's it.
Oh, Drayden. But Drayden, on your TeamSpeak, unclick and unhighlight Matterall. You got Matterall.
Oh, right.
Out.
Anyways, I just want to say that last year, yes, again, after EVNT carried the hosting of the first couple of weekends there, I remember saying at that time, you know what, just turn it over to them. They have got their shit together. They put together a really good, not just the players involved, but the technical aspects of it as well. This was totally something that they proved as an outsider they could take on. And I really look forward to their coverage this year. I think it's going to be outstanding. And I mean, hopefully there are people out there that get involved.
I want to see some real EVE commentating, like Chai said there. It's like, oh, now the FC's talking mad shit to the other side. The actual game.
Some of that happens in the AT, but usually it's like not really talked about.
That is one of those things where it's like when you're trying to burn time, and this may be something that EVNT wants to consider, is that, you know what, let's bring the two captains in, afterwards, here we're talking to, Doom Chinchilla or whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, and hear what they have to say after a match, like, right afterwards, when they're all sweaty and just fucking like worn out from battle. That's something that I don't think is happening.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah,
that's locker room, not quite locker room, but like post-game wrap-up from the captain of the team.
Trademarked.
That would be really cool. I'd like to see that.
That's a great idea, Dirk. Anyway,
but anyways, I don't know. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, before you go.
Go ahead. Yeah, you talk since you're not going to do one. It's it's Quattro de Mayo, by the way. Okay?
Oh yeah, no, it's Quattro
de Mayo somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's Cinco de Mayo and Eve, but
that's Cinco de Mayo Eve.
We didn't go there this year, because we're growing up.
We don't appropriate culture.
We're growing up.
Anymore.
We're not after that whole Chinese prom dress thing. It's like I didn't even want to touch that this year.
That's good for Rain. Skill tracker. I wrote it in chat there. I think it's called Eve Skill Tracker, and that was a site that I used to go to, and it looks like it's already gone. But that was the one that did real world skills for you and stuff. So somebody should do that. And I don't have enough on my plate, so maybe I'll look into doing that. I just got laughed at.
Drayden, are you
I
not
know
using
it's
an
a
open
lot
com
of
shot
stuff.
glass?
No, I got
DC's calling
I
shots.
got a Cabo San Lucas glass, so it's Cinco de Mayo.
All right, whatever.
Okay, looks like my coworker's
You know what?
gonna hang out with us.
I'm calling that shot. That was a pre-shot for the next thing I'm going to bring up here, which is we found out because we did the show last week, Friday, right, where we talked about the fact that CCP goes. Oh my God, it's like my mouth got all
Is that a
watery
girl?
there. CCP Seagull.
Hi. Hi.
Like, can she hear us with the headphones on, or?
Yeah.
No,
I
they're
think
just
so.
there for fun.
Oh no, that's right. Yeah, those are your headphones. Never mind. Yeah.
She's gonna sassy, dude.
Sassy.
Yeah.
I'm rocking my Princess Leia look for me.
There we go.
That's what's going on.
Look,
Looks
Twitch
good,
chat's
looks
going
good. No,
crazy.
I was
Like, oh my
kidding.
God, another girl, 2 girls in one night. It's like, you know, it's just gamer TV. You know what I mean? It's like they don't know.
All right.
Are you? Well, at least introduce yourself. You know, do you have a gamer name?
No, I don't.
No.
If
A
you
name
did,
that
what would
use
it
on-
be?
This is the
A name
best
that
time
you
to
use
make
on
one.
Reddit or 4chan or anything?
No, I am not on Reddit or 4chan.
Oh, see, they.
It's probably.
See, she knows what it is.
So
She
this
knows
is-
what it
this-
is, though.
of us.
This is who you
I
want to
know
marry,
about
gamer
4chan.
people out there. People that are not involved in those things.
Yeah, no.
Much smarter than
I,
us.
Stay far away from 4chan in general. But
That's
yeah.
smart. That's smart.
Very wise choice.
Well, nice saying hi to you. I've got to go back to work.
Bye.
We'll chat some other time. Bye.
Take care.
See, man, we'll get her to be a regular. We'll get her to be a regular.
Yeah. Well,
Is that
there
your
we go.
wife?
We could get her to replace DC.
Maybe she wants to replace
Does she
DC.
want to do tryouts next week?
Get her into Eve.
She says
have
she doesn't
tryouts?
know anything about the game. I
That's
don't think
perfect.
that stops
Neither do
anybody,
we.
right? Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Perfect
Exactly.
recruiting.
That
Just need to know how to
see
drink.
that's who Eve needs to be recruiting. People who don't know anything about the game, like nothing at all. Do you know anything about Eve Online? Nope, never heard of it.
Perfect.
Boom.
You're in.
Anyways, shit, I didn't even know what. Oh, so last week we were talking about the shot. Last week we were talking about the fact that CCP Seagull announced her leaving CCP, right? Eve Online, effective basically the end of June, I guess
yeah.
it is. I think it was like on Monday, something like that. It was shortly, it was shortly after the show. No, I'm sorry. It was Sunday. It was Sunday that we found out that CCP Punk Turris was going to be leaving effective the next morning.
Yeah.
The next
She's
day.
already gone.
So she's gone. Yeah, she's gone. There was talk out there, not talk. I mean, like she was literally doing it. She had in the past run for public office up in the Reykjavik metropolitan area.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
great.
Exactly. There's politicians all over the place, and she is running for public office again. I think it is much more serious this time, and whatever. Anyways. She's gone. Boom. The pink cat is gone.
Oh.
She was a programmer, right? She actually did
She was,
programming.
yeah, she was a legit
Yeah,
straight
she
up
helped
dev.
Yeah.
with She
Team
did a lot of
5.0
like
and
little
little
things.
things.
Yeah. Her and Karka
Well,
did a lot of
I
work
don't think
together.
we can replace her, but we got an orange cat over here, so
Yes.
that's close.
It's so cute.
Well, you know what? I mean, like, number one, she was a wonderful person. Okay, people out there, I did not know her like super legit personally or anything like that. She was a really nice person as far as I knew. Always very genuine and all that kind of stuff. That being said, the whole idea of pink anything in Eve, I swear, it's like if there's anything pink in Eve, it's because there was a CCP Punk Turris in Eve, and not because she was like an art dev or anything like that, but like this is where it all kind of grew out of, in a way.
I really, really want the pink Rorqual skin. I don't have it yet. It's like
It's
the one I
so
haven't
good.
bought, but I really want it because it's awesome. If you're gonna mine in pink. That's what I say.
But yeah, I mean, like her and Karker, part of the whole Little Things thing, which Little Things grew into. They were called Little Things, but they were things that were tended to be very meaningful little things to to people out there. So I don't know. I mean, it's good. I am in fact sad to see her go. Well, I'm sad to see her go mainly because it's like feels like
I love it when they go.
one more dev in the process. But
I'm super happy for them. I kind of feel like they've graduated this place, are headed to better things.
It has
Space
been
high
interesting
school.
because she's
Yeah.
she's been public about having children and stuff like that,
We
right?
keep
You know, it's like
flunking.
you've actually seen like them grow up a bit, like in the context of her tweets and things like that, right? And yeah, in a way, it's almost like she's graduating off to adulting.
She's all grown up.
Like she's running for public office. Damn it!
Yeah, that's like great. I mean,
Well,
She's all grown up.
it's weird because lately there's been so many devs. Either they had all the layoffs late last year, and then you had Hunter leave, then you have Siegel leave, you got Puncturus is gone, and it's just like it's.
well, they say Decker left too. Am I supposed to save that for a different time?
Is that Hell Bunny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
nobody knows
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Nobody
Well,
knows him as
you-
Hell Bunny.
I think we were going to get there, but
Sorry.
I think,
No, I won't jump the gun. Sorry.
Well, no, that's fine. Dirk was gonna bring it up. I actually don't know a whole lot of the details on that, but yeah, Sean Decker is leaving as well. So there's another one.
is he leaving or did he already leave? I was confused on this one.
That was something that I was gonna leave to Dirk because
That I don't know.
I don't
I-
have
yeah,
Matter
I'm
all
sure-
you know, right?
He's
I
got
haven't
the
heard this
inside
yet.
scoop. He's got the sources and everything. He's got all the knowledge.
Don't say nothing. Hey, Dirk.
Oh, hey, Dirk.
I don't have all the knowledge.
Oh, you heard that? How'd you hear that without headphones on?
Because it was like the last thing you said. It was like there's like probably a delay between
Well,
Idaho and me.
Oh,
We kind of brought up
Delay.
the Sean Decker and that.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So that's kind of where we're leading to.
Okay, and I only want to mention this. It hasn't been like I don't know for some odd reason or another. It hasn't been publicized out there or any of that. I only want to mention it because last week in the discussion of CCP Seagull, well, really in stuff even before we talked about it, because my comments about it last week were about the people who were talking about Sean Decker, aka CCP Hell Bunny, is going to take over for Seagull, right? Well, apparently he's been gone for 2 months. Just in case any of you out there are wondering about EA guy and all that kind of stuff, gone for like 2 months. Okay,
Oh, so he's been gone. I didn't know that.
been gone. We didn't know. Nobody knew apparently. Well, I shouldn't say nobody knew. Somebody knew. Obviously, people knew.
I'm sure whoever
okay?
was writing his paycheck knew.
It wasn't one of those things that was publicized out there. Honestly, the whole thing with Seagull itself leaked before like any kind of public announcement had been
Well, she
made or
announced
whatever.
it on her Twitter.
It,
Her
well,
personal
no,
Twitter,
on
not her
Facebook.
CCP
It was
Twitter.
on her
She-
Facebook, and that was
Private
even
Facebook.
private Facebook. And I think Dirk, you already knew, or at least you hinted at something that news was coming earlier in that day, but we had to wait
Yeah.
until we found out.
Yeah, well, I mean, like maybe I don't know about the Facebook, but the first I saw of it was someone had retweeted on Twitter where it was on not her CCP Seagull Twitter, but her Andy Twitter, like her actual personal Twitter. She had posted that out. It was basically had
it was on her personal Facebook, okay, which you could not get unless you were like friended with her or whatever.
Right.
But the news of it had kind of trickled out there, and I'm telling you right now, it was a very limited kind of group of people that heard rumors about that or whatever. In this case here, though, all right, we found out from the Declarations of War podcast that Decker has been gone he's been gone for a bit. So
That wasn't explicitly said, though, right? It wasn't explicitly said.
I don't know if it was explicitly said or not explicitly said, but whatever. The reason I bring it up tonight is not to highlight the fact of another CCP employee being gone, but more to kind of tamp down this idea of who you think is going to take over for who has left, sort of a thing, right? Because there was way too much rampant speculation out there about that sort of thing, as well as recently talking about random number generator things regarding this new, abyssal space type stuff. And oh my God, EA guy must have had his hands in this and all that. Guess
People
what?
have been using EA as
Exactly.
a boogeyman for 10 years. I mean, it's always out there. And whether or not, I don't think Decker had anything to do with it. But I mean, one thing I would tell everybody is just look, this game's been around 15 years. The average dev on any game, 4 or 5 year cycle at the most. So most of these guys want to move on to the next thing. I mean, I can't, I'm not surprised at all that folks are leaving.
Yeah, I mean, every company's going to have turnover. I mean, that's just inevitable. But it's surprising how much of a turnover, especially for like, some of the, more known devs has happened in the last 6 months.
It's
a bit higher than you would normally see, I would assume.
Well, obviously because of the layoffs that they had back in October, right? I mean, that was a chunk of personnel sort of all at one time, right? I'm going to go back to one of the things that I mentioned in our chat amongst ourselves the other day, okay, about the fact that, and this is another one of those things where Eve and the Eve community has kind of this weird relationship, right? We have to remember that these are employees of a company, okay, who are separating themselves for whatever reason, either being separated or separating themselves from the company, right? These are personnel type matters between a company and an employee. We tend to see it different, and that is because we've got this kind of weird symbiotic relationship because of the type of environment that we're in, where we are, when I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of kind of the community, right? Where we see this sort of like, almost like we're stakeholders, not in a business, but we're stakeholders in this social simulator that goes on, and they have one side of it, and we have another side, when in fact they are a provider and we are a consumer. But it gets blurred so much that every time somebody leaves, we want to know who and why, and it's like we don't have a right to that information.
It's like we're all part of a religion, and a cardinal has been taken out, and we need to know who the next cardinal is going to be. Why?
So we're waiting for the white
EVE
smoke.
Online is a cult?
Because we want to know what direction.
We want that white smoke. We want to see the next pope.
What direction we're
But here's
going in.
the thing is, these guys, they interact with us. We see them at FanFest. We see them at Vegas. We see them in all these different places. They come out everywhere. We see them. So it's not like these are faceless people we don't get to know. And after a while, people get invested. They like these guys. They have, each of these guys has their fans, and people want to know what's happening. So I understand, the concern.
I think I believe there's a direction. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there is that human relationship that we all tend to build with this, company that has built this game, right? That all of a sudden we have this human interaction, then we actually present them with ideas and variances into the game that then they act on our input more than anybody else in any other game I've ever seen. Said, hey, we need this for fleet management, and then lo and behold, after FanFest, 3 months later, this idea has been implemented and it works, and everybody's like, oh my God, this works. So we have that unique symbiotic relationship just because of the idea and the ideations that come from those type of events. And that's why I have that kind of feeling of like, well, I can't give my ideas to somebody. I don't have a Puncturus. I don't have, I don't have Seagull now that I gave her ideas to say, look, this is how we can make the game a little bit better for everybody. And that's kind of the angst that I, have, and anxiety a little bit.
And I think I was going to say
hero worship. Let me just say that. There's too much hero worship.
Whoa.
Hi there. But yeah, okay.
Why can't we think of them as... No, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rain. I stepped on you.
No. I was going to say, Blasphemy has a really solid point. So Dirk's point's valid. They're employees of a company. We're just consumers. We should have no say of who's getting hired or fired. That is literally none of our business. But at the same time, with Blasphem's point,
McNagwall EP.
but at the same time, if you think of any other industry or business, if I'm thinking maybe small town businesses where somebody is attempting to create this product, a physical product, and you go up and you say, this is really cool, but I really don't I think it'd be cooler if you made it in a different color. Somebody at your local business, I don't even know how an easy example, because there's literally none I can think of, but EVE Online is a very easy example of saying it is a game, it is a product, but the consumers give input to what it is, and the developers will mostly listen to concerns because they want the consumers to continue to be consumers. Whereas a lot of other times you look at airlines, hotels, things like people who make cars, a lot of times you have zero sway of anything. If I was hey, you know what, Ford, I'd really appreciate pink cars, I'd have to get that custom ordered, or I'd have to get a custom paint job. There's literally no exception to that.
This reminds me of how much of a difference Seagull has made, because it wasn't like this before. They didn't listen to us before.
Hold on a second. I don't want to lay that off onto Seagull, because I believe that there was a kind of a larger cultural shift that was taking place, that was taking place within CCP. I think that she totally, helped it along, just based on her own personality and things like that. But I think they realized better how to engage the community. And I think that's one of the successes for, like, how things have gone along. I mean,
but you agree with
this
me,
game
it
could have
wasn't like
really
that.
sunk down if they hadn't engaged the community the way they did.
Right.
I agree with me. It wasn't like that before, though, right?
Right.
No,
I
I agree. It wasn't like that before.
I actually like the Perestroika reference because they have been a lot more transparent since Eagle came in than they were before.
Yep.
With what they're doing, what they're planning, and how they're.
I just want to go back. I just want to go back to something that Sabroso Kai Coop. Anyways, whatever. That guy Sabroso out in Twitch chat says we are investors, and this is where I want to correct it. We're not investors, but I believe that there does become a bit of a mentality that we are some form of stakeholder, not in the company, but in the world.
Well, yeah, I think we're stakeholders, but I don't think the investor thing is right. I think Rain said it right. We're consumers, but any good company is going to listen to the consumers and give them what they ask for. I mean, to take Rain's point and expand on it. When my local grocery store, my kid loves Propel water. He drinks it like it's going out of style. They stop carrying it. So I go to the front and say, hey, we really like this. Will you guys start carrying it again? And they did. That's what a good company does. They listen to what the customers want. And if they can give it to them, they give it to them. And I'm glad that CCP is starting to do that a little bit more.
But there is a little bit of a difference, though, okay, between a company that listens to what its customers, want and tries to make that happen, right? And where there feels to be more of a relationship involved. And look, I like Coca-Cola. I don't hang out with Coca-Cola makers and executives.
Would you hang out with the
I don't go
Coca-Cola
to
distributor
Vegas
though?
for Coca-Cola Con.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
I won't say it.
So there is something to be said about kind of the way that they engage us and the way that we engage them. And I believe that it does in these times when we have kind of a larger number of layoffs or something like that happens, like we did in October. Or even when a prominent individual within the company, and then we almost act like shareholders in a way, okay? Where it's like, well, what is this going to mean for? We don't think about what is this going to mean for kind of the financials of the company. We think about what is it going to mean for the world that is EVE Online.
I think they even recognize that in some more than others, that the players are the game, right? Just like this show is not us talking, it's that chat there. That's the content.
Yep.
Because it's the interaction between the two. It definitely takes both to like make it work. And they need to give us the tools through their mechanisms, through their mechanics, to keep each other engaged. And then we generate the stories that get talked about to people who don't even play the game. And that brings maybe more interest in. So it is definitely an ecosystem of which they are kind of, like I said, priests. They kind of make the rules, the pathway that we're going on. But we're the ones that like show the acts of faith and stuff like that. I just got really Amar there for a second, but I think you guys get it, right?
Yeah.
Emotional?
Yeah, I got right.
Oh, God.
Are you going to tear up?
Yeah. No.
But anyways.
But no, I didn't mean to. And if we said that we generate feelings for these guys, I didn't mean to step all over that, although I think I did without knowing it. What I mean is too much hero worship is like, I don't know, but if I were a dev, I would feel like a little uncomfortable with so many people coming up to me like just.
But you have a valid point in the hero worship, because I do see that at these events.
It works both ways, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
It does.
I mean, like, I remember.
I mean, John Lennon was worshipped, and then there was a guy that shot him. I mean, like, devs are celebrated for certain things, and then there are people who are like, fuck that guy, fire him, right? I mean, like it cuts both ways because of the level of emotional kind of attachment that gets involved with.
You wrecked my game.
I'm gonna bring it back to this, whatever this experience
I'm gonna send you
is
a bag
that we're
of
part
gummy
of.
dicks.
Or real poop. Remember that happened last year? Hey, who hasn't
really?
cursed Fozzie in the last?
I haven't heard that before.
When they're in toast.
What happened?
So.
And I know I said John Lennon, and there's only people out there that don't know that name, and like
John
Y2K.
Lennon.
Rain, you never heard of him.
John Lennon died around Y2K.
Like Lennon, wasn't that Russian guy? But no.
Yeah.
Lennon off.
The thing with the hero worship, I wonder if also part of that is because people become so like when they get a face to the devs and they meet them and interact with them, and they build that relationship like you were talking about. I wonder if it almost kind of like instills a type of thought that person is now irreplaceable at the company, and if they go, who's going to take their spot? Can the new person do what they did? And there's like that kind of like offsetting feeling where it's like, of course someone can, like Punk Tursley. Not that we like that she's leaving or anything like that. I'm just saying like they could find another software engineer that could probably do what she did. So it's not like she's irreplaceable.
Can they?
I mean. And
nobody's
with any employee, it's like there's always going to be someone out there that can fulfill the role that the person left did. But we get that emotional attachment to people, or like social attachments, where like, yeah, but they're not going to be that person, and so there might be like this kind of, you get that like I don't want to call it a fear, but like I can't think of the right word, but like that kind of like angst,
anxiety,
anxiety or angst about that person leaving.
I mean, did anyone else notice CCP talking about how they do have new developers that have been hired, but we don't know who they are?
Well, and that's kind of one of the things. Hold on. I don't know if that's actually happened or anything like that.
No, they said
we
that
do
at
know
FanFest.
we do know that people come and go there that we never ever hear of, right? I mean, look, they're they have relatively good size. There are a few hundred people there and whatnot still, right? So there are people who get hired, and leave the company all the time that we never know about. Like, we always focus on these frontline people that are the ones that are kind of put out to us as being the face of this, that, or the other thing.
But I mean, I know
Cough
you
time.
mentioned you don't know if it's true, but yeah, I remember CCP saying they do. I'm pretty sure they hired at least a couple more devs, but they don't have CCP names. I don't think they were introduced at FanFest or anything like that. Like, I don't know who they are. But it's one of those things
Is there
of
like a
like
90-day thing before you get your own CCP dev name?
I think if you are hired as a
gotta see
player,
if you
you have
live.
to wait 6
Pro B?
months, as far as I know.
CCP Pro B1?
But like, I mean, it's one of those things of like, we as players are intense. Like, if we find out, CCP Rise leaves the company, and then CCP like John just joins the company, then we're like, whoa, did they fire Rise? Like, did they hire this guy? And then it's like that really intense, like, like EVE players are intense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
You work for
like,
CCP? What's your dev name? I don't have a dev name yet. Oh,
I'm not talking to this guy. He's a scrub.
But
fucking
it's one of those
scrub.
things, right? Like,
CCP
like if
scrub.
I'm as a player, I'm like, oh, you're a new dev, and it's like, oh, what do you work on? What do you do? What is this? What is that? What is your past experience? Like, we want to know all this information about a dev because we want to know, be able to
But
attribute
if you
things
think
to
about it
them.
this way, I mean, it's the same for sports teams.
Red
I mean, we
shirt.
sit around
Yeah,
talking
that's
about,
true, that's true,
who's
yeah.
getting hired, who gets fired, who's the general manager, who's going to be behind this, whose contract's up, I mean, it's look, this is our hobby. We're going to talk about this stuff.
What if we get some people that actually aren't a part of the CCP as an experiment, put CCP shirts on them and walk them around the convention and see how people actually react to them?
Well, you know
Does that call
exactly
them
how they would
personating
react.
a dev?
With a
Does that call
CCP
them
logo on
personating
there.
a dev?
Well, not us. If CCP were to do it, to kind
Well-
of gauge
Oh,
your
yeah,
loyalty
yeah.
to the brand or to the developer.
I saw people years
The
ago
test and
walking up.
control right there.
I saw people years ago walking up to guys in PL shirts that
Yes.
thought that they were part of CCP.
I almost
Hey,
think that-
man.
there was a couple times where I looked at like, oh, it's, and you had to kind of look close, like, oh no, that's PL. It's like because they had the same style as the dev shirts, but then they had the PL logo instead of the CCP one. Although there was one guy that
I'm pretty sure my Streamfleet shirt
a couple
has
Vegases
a
ago
CCP.
that CCP gave them a dev shirt, like one of the devs gave them their dev shirt, and so I remember seeing some guy that was a player that was walking around in an actual dev shirt.
Well, I know Elo and Fozzie traded shirts.
I love that fucking glass of scotch he's sitting there. That
And
glass
isn't
of
it
fucking
great?
makes
It's
his
a Blade
Mercury's
Runner
roll.
stuff. It's awesome.
I'm gonna do a shot.
Oh,
Shot.
where'd Rain go? I
beer
wanted to
shot.
ask her something. She took off.
She's in the closet. I could see her in the back corner.
Come out of the closet, Rain.
No, no,
Come-
no. I have
oh,
my.
you could hear me,
This is
okay.
this is my Streamfleet shirt, but if you look, it says EVE Online on the side. It doesn't say CCP, but like.
Right.
No,
right.
but
That looks like a
but
dev
it's
shirt.
close enough
Looks
that
like
at
a dev
first
shirt,
glance
right?
when you're drunk
Yeah.
in Vegas,
Yeah.
All
I
right,
think
ask
that's
me
what the
some, I don't
PL
know,
ones
walk.
had that same thing, which is why it was like misleading. You're like, because it just has that like official logo.
Yeah, and
But-
in the back
And
they
it's
had
in
it was
black.
called
Oh,
Sphere
that-
Development.
everything's in black.
Sphere,
If-
Sphere Development.
If we're
yes.
doing a shot, I'm just gonna throw this out there to I'm gonna throw this out there to all of the CCP employees. Man, you know what? We are a tough community. We really freaking are. We demand a lot out of them, related to the game, and then we have super high expectations for wanting to know about them basically personally when it comes down to whether they've left the company or any of that shit. You know, God bless you guys, ladies, gentlemen, whatever. You know, it's like, it's a crazy community we got here, people.
Ask me that question, Matterall.
Yeah, that question was FanFest. You were there, and it seemed like the FanFest was very much driven by streaming. Like that was a new theme of it. Was that intentional?
Yeah. So I know when CCP asked me,
Millennial FanFest.
Myself, Zarvox, Bjorn, and Manic, they mentioned we really want to bring FanFest experience to the players at home, and obviously part of doing that not only is like communicating with players, but like streaming it, because then people can see, they can hear, you can kind of feel the vibe. Because in the past, which I mean, this was intentional as well in the past, where they were like, let's set a studio, you know, let's interview people, let's bring people in, but you couldn't really see the event, you couldn't really talk to people, you didn't really know like the layout of the Harpa. So if you have never been to FanFest, you don't understand like how beautiful the Harpa is as a building. And so that was one of the things CCP wanted. So like, well, let's have multiple stations. They gave Manic this, they called it like a roaming camera set, where he could just walk around the floor and talk to people. Not like a, let's set up a camera, let's give you a microphone, you can stand there and talk to people. It's, you are in charge. Like all you have is like a headset, but you are literally just like doing the content on your own.
Did it have like controls on it? Because there was times where it looked like he was having real trouble aiming the thing. He's like, oh, hold on. And he's like trying, did it have, it was like a selfie stick with buttons?
I think he had like, no, it wasn't a selfie stick, but it was like one of those they call them stabilizers, I think.
Oh,
so
okay,
he was like, I mean, I don't think he's used them before, so he had to kind of like learn on the fly. But like that was like, I know with Manic, they were like, okay, we're going to Manic now, and so they'd switch to him, and he had an inner ear or like those headset things, and so that's all he had. He was like, they're like, okay, Manic, you're live, camera's on you, go around and talk to people. You don't have to talk to them about a certain thing. I think there was like one time where we announced winners, and that was like the only, if you want to call it scripted. But yeah, stabilizer. That's what it was. I don't know if I said that.
I think
Rain, I have a very important question for you.
Yeah.
Did it smell as bad as Reddit said after the third day?
How did Reddit say it smelled?
Reddit said that apparently as the days gone on, the smell of body odor became even worse.
That's probably just
that was Saturday?
Gaming conventions, although
that's a norm. And I mean, I have a terrible sense of smell, but like I remember going into where Base Hunter was performing, and I didn't smell anything, but I was also really drunk. So
I mean, like,
well,
okay, like I mean, if it's
well,
like a performance,
my observation.
I
had one last week that I talked about, and there was only one particular instance where I walked by somebody that he probably didn't change his clothes and was fairly rank, and I kind of shouted out, "Take a fucking shower."
Nice.
I just don't get it.
So that was the only time. It was just
at
once.
like a concert, it's understandable because if people are jumping and dancing and moving in a hot room for like hours, it's like they're gonna probably sweat a lot, maybe not smell great at the end of that. But it's like, take a shower and put on some deodorant. It's not hard.
Hey,
yeah.
you know what?
It's
Look,
amazing.
It's not hard.
You've got to be able to respect other people's beings as you know who they are, and you know it's just like.
Yeah. Also, Rain, it seems you were successful on 2 out of 3 of those recruitments. You missed out on Zarvox, but
oh yeah,
better luck next time.
me and Bjorn. So people don't understand that me and Bjorn flew together in pizza. So they didn't show this on the stream. I tried to watch the VOD, but he's like, "Oh, I flew with Love Squad and pizza." And if anyone knows their reputation, you're like, "Why is CCP putting that in their fucking presentation?" But like, I was literally the only person to scream and cheer when he said that. And then, but me and him flew with pizza, and like, so we just kind of have that camaraderie. It's like literally the only people from pizza I've met is me, Bjorn, and then like War Destined, and then probably Stunt. But I consider Stunt Anime Masters, just kind of separate. But yeah, so like, so
Matterall's
that's
a
why.
big pizza fan.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
and pizza's good. You should join Matterall. But no, so that's why me and Bjorn are like,
that
oh,
thing of
let's
hair
join
like
Origin.
in front of your forehead there is like
The boy band look.
just like totally fucking tweaking me right now.
Hey, Ray, did we kill you last night?
80s.
Did
Were
you?
you in that
No,
fight?
you didn't.
No,
I
you
was in
didn't.
a maelstrom.
You didn't
But
kill
look,
her,
look,
and
look.
you didn't kill me. Luckily, I would have
killed your blingy lift though. That was fun.
I'm gonna reel
yeah.
it in here
We
because,
left both
because we are
sides.
moving up on the 1 hour mark, which means we get into fucking like nonsense time. But and I want to make nonsense time not nonsense time tonight. But I do want to like close out with a couple things here. Number one, I want to remind people that the new INN talk show about gaming in general, The Insider, is coming up this Sunday. Following Talking in Stations, but I do want to throw it to Matterall to tell us what's going to be on Talking in Stations this Sunday.
Oh, we have a big guest. CCP Siegel will be on the last part of the show, and she will stay for a meet and greet after the show with the public on TIS Discord. I'll put it in the chat channel so you can join if you want. Also, Asher will be there for the beginning part of the show to give us a beginning to end rundown of what's going on with Imperium versus Guardians of the Galaxy, so we can get.
Is there an end, or is it?
Cut
You
up.
mean a beginning until now?
It's never
beginning
going to stop.
until now. A beginning
It's
until
never
now.
gonna stop.
And also how warfare
Never
has
gonna
changed.
let you down.
Because people used to deploy to warfare, and now it seems like they excursion until something breaks and then they pile on. That seems to be the safe way to initiate combat.
You guys should all just join Origin, and then we wouldn't have to talk about other losers.
You
Origin's
should join
fighting,
Origin so we can shoot you. That was fun last night. That was a great
That
fight.
was a fun brawl. We were definitely gonna do
We
that.
got
again.
Laz now.
Yeah, we
I
got
saw
Laz.
you guys were
There
playing
is this
through.
rumor out there, Imperium people, that the Lazarus Tellraven
Lazarus
has in
Tellraven
fact
is now
joined
in
the
Origin.
He's in
Origin.
Origin. He's
Check
in
it out on
Origin.
Seakill. He's there.
The funny thing is Laz got
Coaching.
kicked from Goons or whatever, and my alts didn't
He
get
got
kicked.
kicked?
Like I saw, yeah, he got kicked. I logged in.
He
I was
got
like, oh
kicked.
shit, my alt.
He said he
Like,
left.
There you
He
go.
said he left. I
Brendan,
don't
did you
think
get your stuff
Amok
out
would
of Delve
ever
yet?
kick Laz.
Well, inactivity, maybe.
Les got purged.
Drayden, did you
Oh
get
my
your
God.
stuff out of Delve yet?
My stuff out of Delve? No,
No.
it's all still down there. You want
like,
to?
fuck
I'm
it.
gonna
Fire
go down.
sale.
I'm gonna go down there and
You
fire
don't need it.
sale
You don't
so.
need it. No, Drain, you don't need it. Just stick with
Don't
your
fire sell it.
Maelstrom and
Don't
your
ever fire
Mutant.
sell a damn
I'm
thing.
buying you a scimitar skin. It's all gonna be
Oh
good.
yeah, it's gonna be a bloody hand.
However, reeling it back in, because we are going to move on here, because we do have Brisk here tonight, and I do want to actually get in for all of those Brisk fans and potential voters out there. I want to give him the opportunity to kind of like, say why is, because we all know, those of us who, at least who are in the Imperium or have been in the Imperium, who know something about the Imperium, right? That there are goons who run at the top of the ticket and all that kind of stuff. So what led you to say, you know what, I want to throw my hat in the ring, from this little group out there that nobody's heard about, the Initiative, to be a CSM member?
It all started as a joke, and that's legit. When I joined,
I feel like it always
SDK
does, by the way. I just wanted to interject that. I feel like every CSM campaign always begins with, this is just for gags.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. Look, I've been playing this game since 2006, and I got in with these guys about a year and a half ago. And as you can see, I'm a politician in real life. I've been doing this in the United States for 10 years. So they find out what I do for a living. I'm in Washington. I'm a lawyer. I've run for office. And the first thing these guys says, "Oh, you should run for office." And Cross will always, "No, I'm not going to do it. Absolutely not do it."
Is he roboting for you guys?
Yeah. Hold
Yeah.
on, you're robot.
Yeah, he's robotic.
Of course he is. The entire night he talks, no problem.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Brisk, you were roboting real hard.
Your opponents are DDoSing your
All right,
exactly.
Try one.
speech.
Can we hear you?
The
Are we back?
Russians,
Oh,
the
okay,
Russians
okay, now it's good, okay.
are apparently having a problem
Collusion.
with us right now.
There you go. The Russians are coming after me. It's all that nasty Trump stuff. So
Deep state DDoS.
There was a stormy weather over you. Just
Zenaria's
If you
coming
if you
after my
run for
campaign
public
already.
office, why what in the world would make you want to run for like Eve politics?
That's what I said. That
make
was
you
literally
great
what
again.
I said to these guys. And the joke, it just kept growing and growing and growing. And finally, we're sitting around talking. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Why not? And it's the exact same thing I said earlier for EVNT. What's the worst that can happen? I lose. I've lost races before. I lost my last race by 56 votes.
Oh.
That hurt. This
Oh.
will not.
Wow.
I mean, but with Eve and like everyone, we'd like to think Eve is like not going to cross that line, but with Eve players, they definitely like to cross that line of like doxing and all this and that. Like, do you think that being on your public record would have any effect on you? Like, I'm genuinely curious.
Right, there is nothing that the Eve guys could do that has not already been done to me in a previous race before. I've had folks come
Okay.
up. Look, my real name, it's in my paperwork. You can see my real name. It's on my website. With that, you can get everything you want to know about me because it's all public record. You can find
All right,
what I
what's the
make.
worst thing you've ever done? What's the worst thing you've ever done?
The worst thing I've ever done?
Not
Probably
used
play
to
this game
Oh.
way more than I should.
Came on
There's
this
no
shut
way.
off a
You've
prostitute before an
definitely
election.
you've definitely broken the law before. Like, what law have you broken?
I speed all the time. I drive a Camaro and I'm way too fast with it, and I
Oh.
freely admit it.
It drives me
Have
nuts.
you ever gotten a
'cause-
ticket?
I have gotten one ticket in New Hampshire because I was doing 90 trying
One.
to get to an airport to a plane on time, And the cop said to me, "You're the reason why I stop everybody." And I said, "Well, I got a plane ticket. I got to hit my plane." He's like, "All right, well, go ahead." But I still got the ticket and I paid. But that was 10 years ago.
Drives me nuts because I see all these people going 15 over the speed limit past me all the time, and then I always go just 5 over. The second I hit 7 over, I get pulled over, get a ticket. I've had 5 tickets in the last 8 years.
Because you're out in 95 mile an hour territory, and when you're going 102, that's what fucking happens.
And I go 75. If people go 85, don't get pulled over. I go 77, get pulled over, get a ticket.
All right, so going back to Brisk here, okay? Because we're going to try and focus here. So it began as a gag. However, okay, like you're putting effort into it, okay?
Right.
But you're also having fun with it.
I'm having fun with it. I want everybody to realize that, the CSM, it's not Congress. It's not Parliament. It is, in effect, it is the players representing the players to the developers. And that's something that I do for a living. I'm a lobbyist full time. I represent my members to the government. If I can do that for work, I can do that in EVE. And I think that's really what I want to really bring to the CSM is just the idea that you don't need to represent one specific area of the game. You don't need to represent one specific play style. You don't need to be one of these guys who knows everything about every module and knows a history of the game back to 2003 and beta tested it. You play, you love the game, you show up, you enjoy it, you participate, you're going to have something to share. And as long as you can listen and you can find out what the community cares about, what they don't care about, and bring that to the devs, I think you can be a good CSM member. And that's what I do. So that's really why I'm running. I want to be able to represent what the players want to the devs and be able to pass back what the devs are doing to the players in a forthright way and in a fun way, because I want to have fun with it. I don't want to be boring and stodgy. Like wearing the suit tonight is supposed to be funny. It's not because I just happened, to wear a suit today because it's Friday. I was on the golf course.
The funny thing is, like, you're saying you're running.
I came home from the golf course and had to put this suit on for this show.
The funny is, you're saying you start off running for the CSM as a joke, and it's like the platform right there you just said is exactly what the CSM is. Like that's what people should be doing with the CSM.
Well,
everyone's like, I'm going to change this. I'm going to get this.
But what tends to happen? But what tends to happen is you get these people that throw up these platforms, right? About I'm from this space and I have this idea for how to change this. And that is one of the problems that I, and I think we, as we've talked about this over the years, have always had is if you want to narrow box yourself into something, you will throw up this platform of this is where I'm from, this is all I fucking know, and it's the only thing I fucking care about. And that may not be the thing that for the next 3 years, forget the next 1 year, is on CCP's agenda at all.
Exactly right. They've got their roadmap. They know what they want to do. And frankly, I think the CSM does a disservice when somebody comes in and says, all right, I care about faction warfare. I'm going to fix faction warfare. That's the only thing I care about. And others have said this. I think I don't know if it was Steve or if it was one of the other guys running said this better than I can. If they come in with one idea and that's the only thing they care about, they're going to say one thing and you're never going to hear from them the rest of the time. And that's stupid. At the end of the day, if you play the game, you're going to be involved, even if it's stuff like PvE, even if it's stuff like the End of the Abyss, that type of stuff. You may not participate, but you're going to have opinions on it. You're going to be able to say, all right, let me go back and tell the community this, and here, let's find out what they think about it, and then take that back. If you played the game for more than 5 minutes, you've done almost everything, at least maybe at one point or another. Or at the very least, if you haven't,
well, not in 5 minutes. I mean,
Well, I mean, look.
If you played it 5 minutes every day for the last decade, then yeah, maybe you may have touched some things. Yeah.
And Matterall reminded me, it was Solon Decimus who said that. So the point that I
so you're quoting another candidate in this race.
Look, I've listened to everybody,
and not doing it in an attack ad.
So you don't need to vote for him because the guy has it handled.
There you go. Right.
That's he'd approve this message.
Well, but
so,
the thing
I think when I look at the other campaign messages and I see, I'm representing wormholes, I'm representing low sec, I'm representing high sec, I'm representing null sec. It drives me crazy. Don't pigeonhole yourself. If you can't listen to folks who play a different version of the game than you do, then you don't belong on a CSM. Period.
Now I agree, and that's true. The one thing that I might say though, that could pull in votes essentially and possibly get people there though, is that if you are pushing for it, now it's probably not going to work for low sec or wormholes because there's not the population there, I guess. But like, especially nullsec, if you're like a strong nullsec candidate, even though that's not the best idea is to go in with that one mindset, but if the people of nullsec think that you're going to represent them better, it might pull enough votes that it gets you in there regardless.
And I can see that. I mean, if folks want to read what I care about, what ideas that I've crowdsourced with my alliance, with my corp mates, the website's briskforcsm.win. There's a 3-point plan. It has a whole list of stuff that's on there. .win, exactly. There's a whole bunch of stuff, and that was the guy set up that website before I even started running. That was part of the joke. But there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that from issues with faxes to fixing war decks to a whole bunch of other things, that just ideas that we can take in and talk about. But at the end of the day, I recognize fully the role of the CSM. We're not going to be able to get in there and tell these guys how to change the game. We can represent our ideas, present their ideas, and find out how those ideas are congruent with what these guys already have on the roadmap, and see where we're going to go from there. But I don't have any kind of belief that I'm going to go in there and shake things up and make a new Eden great again or any of that kind of stuff, because that's not the role of the CSM.
Let's make Eve great again. #Mega.
There you go. Mega.
Okay. Would you can I ask him a question, Dirk? Because you mentioned that you don't want to represent like a specific part of Eve or like just pigeonhole yourself type thing. Would you? I've heard this from other CSM members. So let's say you don't know anything about LowSec and you have to go to a LowSec meeting because that's what they have, all these meetings on their agenda. So do you go in and do you talk about LowSec even though you don't have experience or input from LowSec, or do you go in and do you stay quiet just to observe? Like how would you treat a situation like that?
What I would do is I would recognize, I mean, we're going to get schedules in advance. I've seen past, meeting minutes. So I know kind of the idea of what's going to be presented. You got to do your homework. I have friends that spend a lot of time in LowSec. I've spent a little time on the Atomic Gate myself. You go out there, you listen to folks, you ask,
getting smart bombed,
hey, what do you guys care about? Huh?
Getting smart bombed, or like you spent time on the gate waiting?
You're a gate camper, is what you're saying.
I've done the gate camp with him, at least once or twice. But you got to go in and you got to do your homework. You got to ask around, find out what the issues are, and then be able to say, hey, I have reviewed this. This is what I'm hearing from the community. What are you guys hearing? And be able to have those kinds of conversations. And if I don't know something, I'm not gonna fake it. I'm gonna listen. I'd rather listen and find out from them what they want to do and take it back and present it to the community and have them provide feedback rather than just talk out of my ass.
Well,
I'd like to interject.
Can I answer that question too?
Hold on. And let me just interject for one moment, okay? And this is one of the things, people that are out there listening, okay, about why I have this issue with people who run after they've already done, say, 2 years on the CSM. They lose that whole idea of listening to the community, okay? New candidates that come in, they do have their ideas, but they are also much more open to listening to feedback from the community than people who have already done the whole heard that, seen that, done that, doesn't work, can't represent it because I'm not going to listen anymore kind of a mentality. If you want ideas that like need to be hammered over and over again, you're going to have turnover in some of these people. You can't have establishment CSM reps on there who know that I can't bring this up yet again to the guy I've made friends with in Iceland.
And I agree with that. I mean, I think part of the issue, now I'm not going to say anything negative about the incumbents because I think they've been there, done a pretty good job, for the most part.
You're not going to go negative tonight? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm going to be good. I'll wait until at least the second week of May until I start running attack ads.
Do you know if Jin has ever been with a hooker?
I gotta get all the based on how he dresses. I figure he's with the pimps, not with the hookers. But I digress on that.
Oh,
damn!
Come on, that suit's great.
Shade.
It is a pimp suit, though. Come on, give him that.
I do, and that's the thing. I felt bad because I only have traditional suits. I don't have any gold ones, so I'm never going to look as good as Shintan in these meetings. But what I will say, I think the biggest concern that I have with folks that have been there multiple years in a row is and we've talked about this before, Dirk, they have those relationships. They don't need to be on CSM to be able to affect change or at least to present their opinions to the devs. They've got relationships. They can go and talk to folks. And I think good new blood on the CSM is never a bad thing. It provides a different perspective. I mean, look, I am not an alliance leader. I am not an FC. I am not a corporate CEO. I'm not a director of a corporation.
I
am an F1 guy.
You're legitimately a fucking alligator in the swamp.
Exactly. No, that is true. But in this game, I am your everyday player, the guy that responds to the ping and logs in and goes in the fleet and plays. I'm the guy out mining. I'm the guy out ratting. I'm the guy out doing, moving stuff from Jita. That's the majority of the people who play this game on a daily basis. And I think they should probably have somebody like them on CSM.
Where'd everybody go? All right. Well,
I bored them to death.
No, I'm here. Sorry, I'm trying to figure.
I've never seen that before.
So the audio is coming through okay, which is good. But apparently, I don't know why, but my bandwidth is.
I think it's a beer.
My bandwidth is taking a giant fucking dump, so the video is getting really choppy on the stream. So sorry, guys, but at least the audio is okay. So it's coming through. I turned the bitrate down. That's not really helping a whole lot. And right as I'm saying that, now it looks like it's kind of holding stable. So hopefully now it's good. But I checked with Hip Hop. He's not downloading anything. He's not watching porn. I'm not watching porn.
Who's Hip Hop?
Hip Hop's my brother.
Hip Hop's his brother. Jesus
What?
Christ,
Oh,
man!
oh,
I thought you've been
sorry.
watching the show since back in the day.
Yeah.
I have.
You
but
always
I only
admit
knew-
to that, but then
only-
a trivia question
Okay,
comes
yeah,
up, and
now
you're
it
like,
looks
"Who's
good.
Hip Hop?"
I heard the whole conversation.
Who's
Who's
Drayton's
Hip-Hop?
sister?
He was eclipsed by the sister. Yeah. No. Actually, I wanted to ask Rain another question. When you say do you know about LowSec? You're not talking
No.
about how do I mine safer in LowSec, are you?
No, I just mean in general. So let me take this as incursions, right? If someone were like, "Hey, Rain, what do you think about incursions?" I'd be like, "They make money." Literally it. That's all I know about incursions. You form a fleet, you go and fight rats, you get money, and it's really good at making money. And then if the rats are on the gate, you probably are dead if you're in a cruiser or above. That's literally all I know.
Africanized gate rats.
So yeah, but that's all I know about incursions, right? So if I were just to show up to a meeting and someone's like, "Okay, guys, here we're gonna talk about incursions, how to improve them. Here we have this list," I'd be like, "What the fuck did I get myself into?" So that was my question, because if let's say I'm a CSM member and all I care about is incursions, or all I care about is this or that, or a certain experience like pigeonholing, that's one thing, right? I'm going in to help improve X, Y, or Z. But at the same time, if I'm an all-encompassing player, or all-encompassing CSM, then how do I make sure that my knowledge of many aspects of Eve is good enough to where I can actively participate in these meetings, as well as know the correct people? So for example, if you're like, "Okay, Rain, you don't know anything about incursions, who do you know that knows about incursions?" I have a channel that runs incursions, maybe. I think it's called the Valhalla Project. And I know Tiana Stark, who is in Origin, used to run incursions. That would be my two starts. And if that's literally all I have...
Did you just learn Tiana's name in the last few weeks since you've been in Origin? Or?
No, Tiana Stark, I knew her. She was
Okay,
the Logi
I'm
pilot
just
for
making
Waffles
sure.
in the Alliance tournament. Just making sure.
I'm throwing it out there.
No,
No,
yeah, but
I mean, I
that's
hear what
one
you're
of those
saying,
things,
but
right?
but can I throw kind of another idea
I know how
out
to
there?
name drop too.
Well, no, can I throw
Wait,
another idea out
is
there?
Tiana
that-
a big name? If she's a big
I-
name, I have no idea. I
I
have no
did
idea.
not know
Big
her
names,
until I
little
joined
names.
Origin.
I was
I
just
don't
trying to.
know. They're in Origin, so
I was
it's
just kind of making a self-depreciating joke.
there's Elo
Oh.
and then everybody else is in Origin.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I thought
But-
you guys meant Tiana was
But
the
let me
goddess of
let me throw the idea. Let me throw the idea out
She
there.
might be.
Okay, that most good CSM are not the ones that think they know everything. They're not the ones that come from the highest level of knowledge possible, because those are the ones most likely to isolate other voices out of their brain and only go with what they know, right? So you want people that are going to be able to take other inputs, not just from the other people sitting at the table, but also from whatever constituency is out there that is willing to give them ideas and talk to them and give them, constructive sort of ideas and things like that. So there are people that you want to have on there that are literally kind of the nuts and bolts sort of this is what a micro warp drive does when you overheat it inside this type of wormhole and things. But really what you want are the types of people that are going to be open to ideas from outside, but have the capability of being able to kind of process that based on all of the other inputs that they have, because that's what CCP has to deal with, right? CCP is not dealing with just one isolated point of view. They're trying to figure out what all of these things are and how they come together and process it to find out whether or not this is good or bad. This is just a loud source out here, or it is, actually logical.
To answer Rain's question and to bring up Dirk's point, I mean, here's the thing. I'm a lawyer. I've been a lawyer for 10 years. My primary practice, I do maritime law, I do election law. I consider myself an election law expert. I've been on national television talking about election law. I look things up. I don't have everything memorized. And the one thing they teach you in law school is you have to look things up. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it, no matter how good you are. You could have the code memorized, look it up, make sure you get the right information.
Okay, so what happens?
That's what I intended to. I mean, and funny. It's funny that you mentioned incursions because I did that today because we've got an incursion in BTAC-D, and I'm trying to figure out what does this mean? What do I got to deal with it? So I read the whole Eve University wiki on incursions, and I'm figuring out all this other kind of stuff. And that's the type of stuff that I do on a daily basis.
Okay.
So I think knowing that this stuff is out there, you gotta do your homework.
Okay, so in the past, being on the Alliance tournament with the CSM meetings right after, Jintan did not get the CSM meeting minutes until like the weekend before. It was like super late when he was not at home to be able to do his research. How does he, with maybe only a mobile device, or maybe you with only a mobile device, and you're flying to Iceland, you get an email and it's Falcon going, hey, here's the agenda. Get ready to discuss this when you come in on Monday. Like, what do you do? Like, do you think you're capable of doing that via mobile? Like, I know a lot of, like, I'm an A-type personality. I like to prepare. And so if I get stuff that late, like, I just freak out because I need my PC. I need all this information. I need to be able to talk to people. I just can't do it on my phone.
That is literally what I do on a daily basis. I will get a phone call from a congressional office saying, hey, here's a bill. We want to know what you guys think about it. Can you get it back to me in the next 20 minutes because I've got to tell the boss. So I've got 20 minutes to read a piece of legislation, digest it, figure out what the impacts are to my membership, look up what I got to look up to make sure I understand what it is, and get it back to them. I do that. And it's something it's something that you learn how to do. And fortunately, I've had the ability to do that with my job. And I think it'll translate over, hopefully.
Sounds like
but in the end, being surprised by that type of stuff is not something that I'm not unfamiliar with.
And let me throw this out there, okay? I just typed it out in Twitch chat. If you're Sugar Kyle, you come with a binder of shit that you've been talking about for the last freaking 6 months, and you're ready to talk about those issues. And even if they're not the ones that are on the table at the time, right? You're ready to talk about the issues that they are from listening to people out there over the course of the last 6 months.
Right. Wow. And the other thing I have to say I have going for me is my corporation. I'm in STK Scientific. It's not very well known. It's not huge. We've been around since beta.
It sounds really kind of scientific, though.
You're an initiative, so you're a goon.
Well, we're goon pets, right? I mean, that's what everybody says.
So how are you going to fight that?
I've got my corporation. My guys have done everything, and they've done everything for 15 years. So if my guys don't know anything about it, at the very least, they can tell me who they have flown with that does know about it, and I at least have a place to start. And the same with the Imperium. I mean, the guys, Dirk and everybody that's in there, we have access to resources that are mind-boggling in terms of people and people that have been everywhere and have done everything. And if I can't find out something from one of them, I can go to the forums, I can Google it, I can go to Eve University. There are plenty of tools to bone up on this stuff if it's not something that I'm familiar with.
Well, and also the thing is, I mean, you want your CSM members to know a lot about the game, but you can't expect every single one of them to know every single aspect and every minutia of the game. So there's going to be certain topics that come up that, like, hopefully, like, obviously there's going to be a handful of the CSM members like, I know about this, and they can bring it up. But there's going to be those guys like, this isn't my thing. I've never done it, so I don't have a whole lot of input. Oh. And so they might stand back, but then when it comes up to the topics that they're knowledgeable about, they're like, okay, I'm on this one.
I disagree with that approach completely because, and I'll tell you what, yeah, totally. I love you, Drayden, but I totally disagree with that. And here's why. Because
you just said, fuck you, but let me take this.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
I got this. The representation can't be just one person's like filtration of what their friends are. Like that can't be it. You need the conflict between people who mine in low-sec versus the people who hunt in low-sec. Like you need those guys to duke it out in front of CCP or to take CCP stuff and look at it from both sides at the same time. So even though I would go in saying, I only pass through low-sec, I only mine a little bit, that's my experience. It's not nearly as good as, say, Suetonia, who hunts there all the time and he knows it very well, because it's a disservice to dismiss that there's prey as well. And so you need to look out for those guys too. And so this is why I posed the question to Rain. When you hear of a low-sec candidate, it's always a hunter. You don't ever hear like, yeah, I like living in low-sec. I don't hunt people, but I like living in low-sec.
So there's very few exclusive PvEers in low-sec, and I could probably state that with the fact that a lot of
noisy. And then I think
and noisy. But
and
like
I think
the thing is,
Noisy's
so like
alt that goes with him. But
like a lot of people who do plexing. So like, I mean, I've done plexing, as in I literally get a character that can kill rats and sit there, and then if somebody warps in on me, I warp out. But my main actually sits and hunts, and that's generally what low sec is like. Same with like even a lot of like, if you think of like high level, like the alliances or the like coalitions that live in nullsec, like yeah, goons have a shit ton of ratters, but at the same time they also have a shit ton of people in fleet. And maybe, you know, not every ratter is in a PvP fleet, but like that's kind of like if you have a representative from goons, they probably have both aspects. So that's why, like, if you're like, oh, is there ever a low sec PvE only person? Very rarely will you get that.
Well,
and like
right.
You also
I guess
want
the point
people,
I was making
you
up
want
was,
common sense individuals. You want people who, again, I go back to the whole being able to process what it is you know really well with the other things that you have figured out over the course of the years through the interactions that take place in EVE, right? There are some specialists that you want out there, those people that are really deep into the numbers, but generally speaking, you want people that are able to process information based on the input of the devs and them and other people out there.
Right.
Doesn't mean you can't speak about it. You may not take the lead in speaking about it, but you are able to speak to it because you're a good processor.
Well, okay, so that maybe what I was saying got misconstrued, because that's kind of more what I meant, is the fact that, say you do all this, like you live in nullsec, but you know, maybe you know low sec, you know all this other stuff, but say you've never run incursions. You know about them, you know roughly how they work and stuff, but you don't do them all the time. So when a specific topic on incursions comes up, you will probably be able to throw in some input and stuff, but you are not going to be the person that comes up with all the, like, you're not going to be the person that's bringing all the stuff to the table. You might have some stuff to say on it, but you're not going to be that top guy that's bringing everything. And that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like there's gonna be topics that people aren't as extremely knowledgeable on, so
what the problem I'm having with CSM?
I hear you, Drayden.
I said it like 5 times. That sounded really terrible.
I know.
I
understand.
I
get it. The problem I have with CSM. Hello. The problem I have with CSM is that a lot of the representatives that go in there are usually on the aggressive side of things, right? I mean, there are some candidates that are not. That's they call them the high sec candidates, and they think like those are the pansies that don't actually do anything. But what I'm saying is, like, you need people who are aggressive on multiple, not aggressive, but they're experienced and have played on multiple sides of this game to get the balance right.
I agree. Yeah. No, I agree.
Can I throw something I've seen here out? You know, tonight. Brisk is here. Brisk is somebody who in real life, is out there doing things kind of in real life in a public sense, right? Running for office, having been involved in lobbying and all that kind of shit, right? He's not wearing Jin's fucking camo mask tonight. I'm not throwing this out. I'm saying here's an individual who I think is willing to kind of, step to,
probably
because
like in his personal life, he didn't really do super shady things, and he's not going to do super shady things in Iceland. So maybe that's why he doesn't need a mask.
Right? That's one of the things that I think that like voters should potentially think about out there, right? It's like there's guys like me who like stumble over themselves and walk into fucking landmines all the fucking time and have blown limbs off and still somehow come hobbling away on our ass cheeks or whatever. Okay, and then there are other people who it's like hide behind the things that they say and kind of who they are. And then there are people out there who are like, just saying, I'm willing to get out there. I'm actually willing to put my fucking face in front of y'all and kind of talk about things. I'm going to say, I'm just going to do I'm not saying I'm going to vote for him. I'm saying I'm going to do a shot to being upfront, both as far as a human being that plays EVE Online, as well as somebody who is willing to kind of get involved in this thing.
You got some Purell. I know you got Purell.
And he has a proper manly drinking glass, which
there you go.
And he does. Yeah. He doesn't have a fucking Reagan fucking portrait on the wall, but whatever.
Well, we'll work on it. I do maritime. We got to have the ships. Look, I laugh about it because when the whole doxing thing went down. I understand it's a huge issue for the community, but for me, it was hard to relate to because you can't dox me. I mean, everything I have is out there. My real name is everywhere. My face is on my Discord. My face is here. I don't care. I play this game. I've told everybody that I play this game.
I'm not
my
even
Twitter handle
embarrassed.
has Brisk for CSM on it. I'm verified on Twitter, and it has Brisk for CSM.
I don't.
And when you got added to Skype, and I saw the real name, I was like, "Don't you want to mask that?" And now I understand. So
I don't care. It's one of these things where.
Well, we're not throwing it out there. We're not calling him by his,
Right. When I saw it, it's like, there's other people here that, just like people you don't know. You don't know me. You don't know
His real name is John Wayne.
Exactly.
You don't know me. Do you know who I am?
I think the fear of doxing. I think the fear of doxing is not necessarily that people are afraid that you're going to see their browser history. Maybe some are, but I think it's more of just they don't like the invasion of privacy, regardless of what someone might see, and even if everything they find is perfectly, something that they wouldn't necessarily be opposed to or like embarrassed that people would see. It's more the fact that they're like, this person came and like divulged into my personal stuff that they should not be allowed to get into, and they're not okay with it. Like me also, it's like, what are you gonna look at the porn I look at? That's fine. I mean, like, I don't care.
Nobody looks at that anymore, bro.
You're gonna look at, like, I mean, I don't know if they can see your emails, but it's like, I don't get any like important emails. Like, I'm not worried about that either. I've even said, back when the whole like the Big Brother, like
nobody's
NSA,
finding out what fucking hooker you like paid off $120 to out in Vegas last year. Nobody cares.
No, I'm just saying.
It's
like,
only 120.
And on top of that, it's like
you got to get into the 6 digits.
It's like I'm not worried.
I'll be your fixer, bro.
I remember this was a conversation I had
like someone like his name to Michael Cohen.
When the whole like NSA, it's like, oh, they're reading through people's emails
Dirk
and their text messages, and I was like, I don't care. And so I was like, how can you not care? That's an invasion of your privacy. It's like, I don't give a fuck about my privacy, really.
Drayden's like the guy where the officer's like, can I look in your trunk? And instead of saying you need a warrant, officer Drayden's like, yeah, I don't have nothing to hide.
Yeah, take a look. He opens up just like,
look, I understand.
Coke and hookers.
Used to be Avalon in the house.
My only point about it is that my life has been an open book for the last 10 years. I ran for office first time in 2011. Ever since then, I've been a public figure. I've known that. I don't care. I mean, look, the last campaign
that being said, every politician in fucking human history has said my life's an open book until all of a sudden somebody opens one page of that book and says, what the fuck, bro?
I'm bored. I mean, look, the worst that they can say for me is I spend too much time playing video games. I mean, the honest to God truth. I mean, look, I've had them.
Can you see that headlines like,
that's kind of what's really fucking cool. I literally want to come down. I literally want to come down and help you fucking campaign, out where you live, because it's kind of like, hold on, because it's kind of like, you know what, you should be reaching, and now I'm getting all fucking real world and stuff. You should be reaching out to a new generation of people, just like I do at various times where all of a sudden like I throw out words like PUBG and Fortnite to people and whatnot, and they're like, oh my god, you know that, because they're young and shit. Okay, it's like there is an entirely different aspect to that versus kind of, let's say, the 1992 George, Herbert Walker Bush. I don't know what a gallon of fucking milk costs.
Look, I was on Rachel Maddow. Nobody cared. I told my kids
it was Rachel Maddow
stream tonight, and they're like, "You're going to be on Twitch? That's the coolest thing ever." So I'm already a star with them. So that's how it is,
Yeah, my niece introduced.
You know what we're gonna do? We're not gonna elect this guy for CSM. We're actually going to fucking crowd elect him into a legitimate position somewhere.
We can do both. Why not?
We're gonna get him dog catcher of where he lives.
Don't worry.
Which pays more than CSM.
I'll write you in. True. I'll write you in for district attorney in my county.
There you go.
I got
take
you.
it.
Like the more I learn about Brisk, the more I like him. So
that's right. My son works for district attorney's office here in Vegas. So
Matterall, and you're always wrong in the end.
Yeah, maybe it's a curse. I should just detract from you, and then you might get elected.
Please attack me.
No, we were talking about that, right? We're saying should we put out Talking in Station's voting block card, and everybody said no.
No, well, because you can't put a Talking in Stations voting block card out there because the people that are on Talking in Stations are so disparate from different places that they will never be able to agree on what a card would look like.
I bet they will agree on one person that they want on there somewhere.
Yeah.
What do you guys think in chat? Do you think we should do an open comms ballot and do a Talking in Stations ballot, or
there's not enough fucking Tito's to make that fucking happen? I gotta be honest. It's like, well, number one, because after a certain number of shots, it's like we can't get to 10 fucking positions anyway.
I was like, don't make me open the wallet. I'll open the wallet, we'll get Tito's, and I'll ship it to all of you, and I'll make sure you all have like 5
and that is one of the things that Open Comm Show or the DJ Big Country Show like never got involved in, right? We never got involved with the idea of you should pick this person. We have had candidates on here. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're somebody who was a CSM or is a CSM or was a candidate or whatever that was on this show, it's because we generally had a positive vibe about you, right? Or you asked and we just said, yeah, fuck it, come on. But we never sat there and said, this is who you should fucking vote for, right?
But you say who we're going to vote for.
Who we are, or who any of us individually would say, this is my number one guy, kind of a thing. Because it's more about getting the information out there and letting the voters choose, all right? And that is one of the really terrible things about the CSM election is the whole idea of the vast majority of people who actually vote in this thing, blind, deaf, dumb, but like have a fucking Ethernet connection to something that gives them an idea of how they should punch a button.
Yeah.
Well, it's look, one of the things that I was surprised about, at least this election, has been how little campaigning there's been. I feel like compared to previous CSM campaigns, there just hasn't been a lot. And I don't know whether that's because we don't know when the election's going to be yet, or because they waited and didn't do it at FanFest, or what. But
this has been a weird year. This has been a weird year.
The new schedule,
you guys have gotten screwed out of that in a way.
Maybe it's because because they're not going to announce like, oh hey, by the way, this weekend's election time. Like they'll announce it.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be sometime in late May or early June. Yeah,
it's like being said, there's not the urgency yet, so people haven't been like breaking on it. I bet.
That's pretty close, isn't it? Like 4 weeks from now.
End of May, I think it would be pretty
like that in June.
I would assume they would announce it more than at least a month.
Well, we've done our first CSM.
They did.
Interview.
They told you guys that the candidates, the candidates who will be in the election will be announced at FanFest. That was early April, right? So since that time that they have done that, those people have been on the freaking runway to whenever they announce that thing, which was supposed to be late May or early June. I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably going to be early June, the way all this shit goes down, okay? But what we have seen based on the delay of the entire thing going back like months now, right? The current CSM knew when this shit was all going to semi go down and how how it was going to be delayed. But everybody else had no fucking idea. The rest of it is all going to be stalled. This is going to be a very odd election. And then when they do announce the actual election dates, it's going to be 4 days. 4 days. So therefore, don't take that fucking week off. Don't go to fucking Jamaica that week. Don't be away that week if you actually want to vote in this, because you can't come back a few days later and cast your vote in the middle of what used to be a 3-week voting period.
That's interesting. I like this guy's name who's running for CSM, Chainsaw Plankton. That's my favorite name.
Oh, is he really running?
He is running. I
fucking
saw
Chainsaw.
him on
You know what? Hit me up. Hit me up. You can come on.
Chainsaw's he always watches every week. So
well, exactly.
I like Chainsaw Plankton.
You know what? And I don't necessarily want to subject candidates to coming on the Open Comm Show because I don't know whether it helps them or hurts them or whatever. But honestly, this is a show where if you are a candidate who can talk, this is probably a fucking good show for you because it shows you can talk. It shows you're a fucking baller.
You can drink.
No, it doesn't necessarily show that you can drink.
You don't have to drink.
No, we're the dumbasses that drink. We don't expect the fucking candidates to do that. But it shows that you are a fucking human being that can commentary with other people and shit like that, which is totally fucking important when you're in a place like Iceland with a bunch of people that don't necessarily shower. Honestly, I mean. But,
how about that though? You go out.
I shower every day. I pledge.
There we go, people. Showers every day. One more point in the corner.
Yep. Voted.
How about that? The guys that get so smashed, they're useless the next day of the summit.
I haven't heard of people doing that
for work. I mean, that's just how it is. You learn how to moderate your intake.
This guy's been
.com, 10 months. Welcome back, brother.
Three makers marks into lobbying all night long.
Yeah, exactly.
Andy sat there while we went through a whole bunch of cheap trash early stuff. We didn't go breaking news. Brisk is here.
So we are doing CSM interviews. The first one will be out soon.
Fucking .com.
Recorded in the bag. And it won't be me doing them all this year. It'll be Kaskora, Ashtarothi, Carneros will be interviewing different candidates. Just so.
When does that start?
It starts. We've got the first
Right
one
after the election is over, they're going to put those interviews out.
starting June.
Let me know. I'd love to be on a talking station since I watch it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, she got my vote. It'll be.
It has to now.
They'll make appointments with you and work it out.
Excellent. I'll let the crowdsource what color tie I wear on the.
I'm gonna be straight up honest. I think that tonight could be his talking station's fucking interview.
Yeah, just
the interview to be on
take
talking
I think
stations.
you can go back and like cover this and be like, you know what? Look, I mean, honestly, everybody else can have a fucking boring ass interview out there, but boom, here's this guy that
As
has.
I said on Open Comms, everybody in Fair Fan Fest needed to take a bath.
Right.
So
I mean,
exactly.
You might need
That should be it.
a beat
I got
button
campaign
for
slogan.
talking stations.
I got Cheetah mad because he says this ain't your show, Matterall. So, okay. we'll do it another time.
No, this isn't.
He's
Kinda
on
like-
Cheetah.
Are we like brother shows? Are we
Yeah,
like
we're like
sister
sister
shows?
shows,
What are we? I don't even know nowadays because it's like
Hug
I'm
it
so
out
confused about
shows.
shit.
We're
but-
like
Yeah, we're symbiotic.
we're like the drunk brother / like responsible older brother.
We're like the retarded cousin of talking
No,
stations.
yeah.
not at all. I feel
Don't
like
use
this
that
is-
word, Dirk.
The
Sorry.
slightly drunk.
This
is
popsicle.
where
We are
you-
the intellectually challenged cousin of talking stations.
This is
The
where
drunk
people.
uncle.
This is where people relax and say what they really think.
Oh shit.
Well, no, we don't
There you
always
go.
say what we really think. But
Mappa Boom. Thanks for the sub,
Mecca
man.
checka boom.
Mecca
Thank
check-
you.
man,
Wait, we
that
got Proversus.
Sweet.
we just keep getting subs. Damn.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I like that
It's
name. Just
raining.
rolls off the tongue.
I want to
Prom-
get
off
I
the
want to
tongue.
get lit up.
Proversius?
I want to get lit up and
Proversus?
say shit, but I'm just not going to do it for
No,
free.
Read it. We got
you
a
guys have to
club
have
from
me on
Twitch
more often.
Prime.
All
Did you
these
read
subs
it?
rolling in. You know why?
We got
I got to take credit.
yeah, Macca Chicka Boom. We just
No,
called
I
it.
see Proversius.
But the only people
Oh
that take
shit, that's a
advantage of
completely
subs are
different
the
channel.
Matani,
I'm
you know, so
I'm
it's
high
like,
as fuck. I'm high as fuck. Sorry.
You're high?
Mappa Checka
Yeah,
Boom.
I'm watching another.
Oh my God,
show.
I
Not
pronounced it
promote
right.
that
Mappa
type
Checka
of
Boom.
intoxication on your brain.
Yeah, see,
Oh.
.com,
I told you I was
see,
getting blackout
.com
drunk,
fucking
you
has it
guys.
right. Open Comms is talking stations drunk uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
That's-
go.
That's what I was
We're
trying
that
to
guy
say.
at
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
I
Yeah.
like Ariana or whatever said Open Comms is the hip hop of TIS.
With the
I
fucking
guess you're right.
Kanye.
Hip-hop.
Go.
Younger.
Speaking of
Hey, we got
Kanye,
Dragon
no, we're not
Energy
doing
over
Oh
here.
Kanye.
no, we're not doing Kanye.
We're not doing
We can't do
Kanye.
Kanye.
What? We got Dragon Energy.
Can we
Let's
do
go.
Nicki
I don't have
Minaj?
enough fucking popcorn to sit back and watch Kanye.
Yeah. Wait, hold on, Dirk. Is
However,
that, is
I
that
am
Fireball?
moving over to Ignite the Night
Ooh,
with
he
a
is
little bit of
igniting.
Fireball.
I was gonna say, like, that's orange.
Actually, I just read that off the back of the
What's-
bottle.
what's
I never
Ignite
had
the
any
Night?
idea that it was there.
Yeah.
Fucking Fireball,
Read
man.
through the label too.
Ignite the Night.
I thought you said Ignite the Night.
How did you run
Oh
out of
shit! I
tears?
didn't know that. God damn. That may be our fucking like Vegas T-shirt logo this year. Ignite the Night. Open
Ignite the
Comms.
night.
Oh man.
.com. Tell us if what happened to Laztel. Did he get
Cheers.
kicked out of AMOC or did he leave?
Yeah. Well, Laz is in channel right now. He's here. He can.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Laz,
Does
is he-
Laz want to
what-
come on?
What does Laz want to come on and tell us about
He's
his
been
origin
here.
experience?
He's been here for like the last 40 minutes at least.
How has his O been like?
Yeah. Well,
Origin.
it's a zero, Dirk. It's not a no, technically.
Well,
How do you like Origin?
in the spelling of the name, it is, but like in the ticker, I think it's a 0,
Yeah, you
or
got
it's
a
like
bit.
the other way
Oh,
around. I can't
Beergician
remember
just
now.
dropped $5. I can't read what that said.
Oh,
The
500
bits, the donation messages come up right over the Open Comms or the INN chat, so I can never read what the donation.
I believe
They
that's
like
something that the
fighting
producer
outnumbered,
could
like
change if they
men,
like move it
which
on
is
the
Black
on
Legion.
the
I
on the thing. We
well,
have
I
22
can't.
minutes left. We have 22 minutes left until the end of the show, which means we actually have 21 minutes and change because we're not going late tonight. We're just not doing it.
Yeah.
'Cause
My
we're not
guys are telling me in
stupid. We're
Discord
not
that we should
stupid.
change the name of the show to Drinking in Stations.
Oh man.
You know what? Look, I came up with the whole fucking talking
Did
in
you?
stations thing, didn't I? You know I did.
Did he?
You didn't.
Okay, because I'm the witty one that comes up with that kind of shit.
He is
okay?
the only one.
Right,
He
but-
is, but that was not.
I know
his
I
name.
did not. That's
That
And
was
we have
actually
joked
coined-
we have joked about talking in stations and stuff like that. And I argued with BC years ago about open comms. What the fuck does that mean? He's like, that's when the fucking FC doesn't have anything to say. And he's like, fine, fucking comms are open.
Hey, you are due for a name change though,
That's
right? Because you
true.
changed the name from.
Nah, I know, but like I
Drinking
can't. I
in
can't.
Yeah, but the Whiskey Gaming changed it to Push to Talk, right? That was
Yeah.
recent.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know. We should change the name
look,
of Talking
you
to
can't
Station.
have Whiskey Gaming at like 11 a.m.
11
on a
o'clock in
Sunday
the
or Saturday or
morning,
whatever.
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
that's
it
like
doesn't work. Like it really has a bad vibe.
Day drinking in stations.
Like literally on a Friday night, we could have Get Hammered in stations, and like it would be fine. But whiskey gaming is bad at like Saturday around noon.
I'm willing to entertain better names than talking in stations. Something.
You can't change the name now.
Yeah.
It's solid,
Change it.
bro.
You gotta
You're
brand,
branded.
man.
Just entertain.
It's like going
has
from
that-
Coke to New Coke. That's not
It
happening.
has that
No,
whole
you're
freaking Eve
advertising. You know
connection.
better.
Yeah, no, you can't change it now. Like it's got that solid name. Like
Yeah.
it's solid. It's
Talking in
You
stations.
have
You got
brand.
logo
Talking
in
in
every-
stations.
You
is
have
really,
brand recognition.
Talking in
Exactly.
Stations really has a very good brand recognition, the way that, like, Potted and, all that kind of shit back in the fucking golden age, because it was
Meta
connected with Eve, right? Talking in Stations, walking in stations, like, it has a bit of, like, we're making fun of this shit, right? But being serious about it, talking in
Yeah.
stations.
It does have the people who understand the reference are our audience, right? They're the older
Yeah,
players.
like
that were here
Y2K
for-
people. They know what Y2K meant and how we were all harrowed by that. And then there's
So
people
not
like
Rain.
Rain who are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What's talking in stations got to do with Eve? The
Yeah,
problem
really. Talking
the
in
problem I have with
stations.
it,
We
that
can't
name
talk in
came-
stations.
that name came from Ryan, who was the editor at the time of TMC. But it might as well have been Dirk, because Dirk comes up with all the funny stuff. Frankly.
No, it literally came up with. I literally gave you fucking talking in stations. You can sit there and give that out to fucking Ryan all you want to. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm not gonna get like totally
Your
fucking
memory
crazy
is
and defend my fucking trademark or anything like that. But yeah, I
well,
gave you
all right.
talking in stations.
All right,
It was my
20
number
20
2
minutes left,
name.
right? We have.
Yeah, we do
not
have
talked
19
about
minutes
the
left.
elephant in the room, though. And because I listened in chat and I pay attention and I represent the community, I think we need to talk about the size of Rain's earphones.
See, we've done that
Prin-
before, though.
Princess
You know what I mean?
Leia-
not the mouse pad.
Yeah, the
Her
headphones
really
goes to the
big,
mouse
super
pad,
giant.
and
Like
the mouse
right now,
pad
she's
gets
out
to
on
the-
an Origin fleet.
I was
and
gonna say,
not
I think
even
she's on
fucking
Origin fleet,
listening
she's
to
not
us
listening.
here-
She's
headphones.
she's not here
Yeah,
anymore.
she's
not
not
even
She's not
listening.
here anymore.
She's in
Right
a
now,
trance.
Rain is out on an Origin fleet. So, goons, if you're out there,
We are,
just know that Origin is active.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
Yeah. I was just saying, it's like I could just imagine it now. Like
And if they're active, that means that they're hitting a structure, because we know that Origin is the structure bashing component of the North.
a line of allergen, a line of allergen, a line of allergen, a line of allergen, all subcaps, a line of allergen, a line of allergen, a line of allergen, a line of allergen. Everybody,
Shoot
okay,
the
a line of
structure.
allergen, a line of
Shoot the
allergen, a line of
structure.
allergen.
That sounds like
That's-
Elo Knight.
That is the fleets. I fucking love it.
Yeah, exactly.
Elo Knight
Fun.
repeats everything
Repeat it
20
19
times.
times.
Yeah, if you say it, just in case you didn't catch it the first 30 times, you get the next 5. It'll.
Yeah,
I
you wanna
cannot
know
wait
that-
until
See,
we're
where
able
are we
to snatch
aligning to?
Elo's monitor away at some
Yeah.
point in one of these fleets. It's
Uh,
gonna be
The
awesome.
The secret to Elo Knight's success is that no one gets left behind because his instructions are repeated
Well,
so
yeah,
many
that's
times.
true.
Unless you're an
no,
Osprey Navy
no,
issue.
that's not true. That is absolutely not true. From having been on fucking Elo Knight fleets, somebody does get left behind, and after 19 times of being told a line, fucking warp, motherfucker, if you do get left behind,
It's your fault.
you're literally the fucking
it's
monkey in the
actually
room that
like-
gets talked
shamed.
about.
The funny thing is, like, whenever that happens, and if someone gets named and shamed, which is rare, if they do, it's like, you deserve it. You heard it 50 times. I don't know
What I
what you
can
were
tell
doing
you,
that wasn't
what I can
that,
tell you
but-
right now is based on Rain's demeanor and her overly sized fucking sweatshirt, is that nothing is
Golden
going
Swanted,
on.
Golden Swanted.
Nothing is going on really hardcore right now because she is a Logi pilot
She
by,
just pointed
by
at Gollum,
trade.
it sounds like.
No. Oh shit, yeah. No, I have a revelation pointed.
Do you really?
Ooh.
Really?
Revelation is. a
All right, I'm
game
gonna
Just
close
any
the
old
stream and get on this
revelation.
fleet.
For
Rain, can
people
you
that don't
tell us
play
what
this
system
game.
you're in, please?
Alright, one sec.
Is it an initiative revelation?
I'll say, I need to ping this.
Is it a Guardians of the Galaxy revelation? No.
Brisk, because you'd be like,
It's not.
what are
Looks
you
like
me.
during
doing?
glitter? During glitter, maybe?
Oh,
Templus Calcif.
Dirt.
I gotta log in.
Oh.
Templars, really? Okay. Oh yeah. So Beer Jish, he's like, do you like fighting outnumbered like men? Can you fly a Dreader Super? Join Black Legion today. That's what he said.
There you go. See, that's the kind of thing that we need to have. We need to have more propaganda. Like right now, in these kind of in between times of legitimate freaking war, we have we have kind of like low yield propaganda out there, right? It's just some people saying some things at times. We need better propaganda. I think that we need more propaganda in the CSM. I think that we need some attack ads out there. We need people saying, you know, I approve this message, like all that kind of shit.
I need Catlos to do ads for me, is what I need. I need him to draw ads.
I have
for the
HC and
campaign.
Nano.
I will have to say, like, we have started calling ourselves Black. Like, we are technically not part of an alliance called Black Legion yet, but
you are though.
Everything
you are,
has
though.
been
Origin is.
Origin is Black Legion.
There may be nobody else in part of like in the Black Legion section of the basement or whatever. I'm saying Origin is part of Black Lions, right? Black Legion.
Technically, there is no Black Legion yet. But we're basically all of our everything is being stylized as Black Legion. So even though technically it hasn't been gone through, I guarantee it's gonna get there. But we're basically calling ourselves Black Legion now. So it's Black Legion. Like Origin is Origin. It's Black Legion. It's all the same thing at this point.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, but
wait, Beer Distance call me out. Maybe I'm dumb.
Maybe I'm dumb.
Maybe we actually are Black Legion again. I don't know. Like,
you are. I just split up on Z Killboard. You guys are Black Legion.
Yeah.
Well, then we made an alliance, and I haven't.
Part of fucking Goon Swarm. Fucking Origin.
Yeah, we're Black Legion. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
I was logged in last night.
I mean,
we're Black Legion. We are literally
really
Black
meaningful
Legion.
to the Black Legion part of it. It's the Origin part that matters.
Well, okay. I was logged in last night. I just haven't shown info and looked at my alliance in a long time. I guess. But anyway, yeah. So I thought we were just like, oh, we're stylized. We are Black Legion. Black Legion? No, it's Black Legion.
Oh, well.
Okay, Cork is actually calling me an idiot now because it's been 2 weeks. I'm just dumb. Maybe that's the thing.
We knew it all.
This is why Elo says things 20 times.
Well, I know, but I needed 25.
No, it's a different thing. It's a different thing.
No, I just...
But what are you guys doing? You guys are actually shooting structures.
Who are these guys that drop dreads on you?
No,
Templars? I don't think I've heard of them.
We're
here for good fights.
I don't think it's any secret that we're in Saranen, so I don't think it's OPSEC to say that we are in Saranen. And we're fighting goons basically. We got in a fight last night with Initiative.
We had a lot of fun with that.
Brisk was there. I was there. Rain was there. It was good. It was good.
You scared your lift pilot a little bit.
It was. I actually that was a really really good fight. I'm not gonna.
That was really fun. Have you guys ever flown Hicks before? That was really fun.
I was.
Have you ever flown what before?
Hicks.
I was sad I couldn't get into a Maelstrom. We didn't have any left, but I was just flying Logi. But like I'm actually glad I flew Logi because it was like a. It's like there was some. I don't know what you guys were doing. Like there were times where you guys could just instantly alpha a Maelstrom and it was out, and then there were times where like the damage kind of stuck on like sporadically and we could save them. But so I don't know what was going on there because you guys said it was you guys and there was another separate fleet. So maybe like when you guys coordinated your attacks, we couldn't do anything about it. But when you guys separated, we could beat it, I guess. But
the setup guys were there with us, and they were blue for the night. So we didn't go after them at all. But I mean that's our Raven fleet. You guys had Matterall, you guys had Pandoralica on Talking Stations a couple of weeks ago. Pandos, it's our Raven fleet doctrine. It's pretty freaking cool, and it reminds me of the old school cavalry Ravens. We can put that really high alpha going when we're really pushing it. And I mean that lift was blinged out, and we were worried. I didn't think we were going to get it. It was pretty cool. We had a good time last night.
I like Pando. He's a nice guy.
Panda?
Smart Pando. Smart guy.
Pando.
Too.
He is
Scared
one of the best theory
Pando.
crafters I have ever seen.
Yeah.
And the fleets he does are fun. I've had more fun on his fleets than almost anybody else's. Although now our other guys are going to scream at me when I say that. But for Pando, he's great.
Initiative was kind of our alliance of the year, along with Triumvirate.
Whoa. Oh, we had an alliance of Talking Stations? Did we vote on this, or did you just throw it out there in your own opinion?
I just picked.
See, right. And that's exactly how the whole ballot would go down.
No, I would share it with you guys. But because primarily of Pando's work of just being so inventive with doctrines and kind of shaping a lot of
literally, it would have just come down to the fucking Raven.
Not the Raven.
It's not you're like, oh my god, fucking Ravens are back. Give it to the guy who ran Ravens.
No, it's.
I mean, that's why I want to go back with Initiative because they fly Ravens.
But
anyway, sorry.
Me too. I love it. That's my favorite ship of all time.
Yeah,
that's why the first ship I ever skilled into. Like my goal in Eve when I started in 2006 was I want to fly a Raven. So the fact that I've got like 7 of them in my hangar now is awesome.
Matterall, on a scale of
Jumpy
1 to Kill a
Ravens.
Bee, are you not going to vote for Kill a Bee? Like, he has been a talking in stations kind of like, you know, like go-to stalwart over the course of the last year. He's done kind of that get my name out sort of thing and whatnot. And also, you know, NC Dot and whatnot, like when he made that conversion over from PL. Like, is there any chance whatsoever that he's not going to be your number one?
He also, unprompted, killed the Fortizar that killed me. Unprompted.
Oh, man, so he's like totally freaking like.
I did not ask him to do that.
I feel as though he like gave you like almost a campaign donation, but in like in reverse in a way, right? Like
if there's
like
any
he bought your campaign.
Kill, let me know ahead of time.
Okay. No. I would vote for him completely on the merits of how smart and involved he is, because he's definitely engaged. He's active. And you know, he's.
I've heard some negative stuff out there. I got to be honest. Like
the negative stuff is
there's some backroom PL kind of like negative stuff out there that like you know has come up, and I'm not going to lay it out there because I'm not part of that like kind of like you know back talk community and whatnot. I would not go out there and put that out on Reddit like I knew about it or anything.
You cannot rise up the ranks as fast as he has without like stirring up, you know, the order of things. And he's risen quickly from like 3 years ago. More or less obscurity of Black Legion or Noli Segunda to really being a coalition level FC he's did it fast.
All right, so we got 9 minutes left in the show. I'm going to throw 3 possible topics out there. I don't have a preference in which order or if we talk about any of them at all. 1, Jersey Shore. 2, incels. Or 3, whether or not we should have arena-based combat in EVE.
Arena-based combat.
Arena-based. Fortnite.
I like it.
Wait,
yeah, I think I like the idea
let's
of
go with arena-based combat. I threw this out there today on Twitter, a little bit in fucking Discord and talking in stations. Got a bunch of you know what? I'm gonna give my two main kind of like people out there on Twitter, which was Doom Chinchilla against the idea of sort of arena-based combat in EVE. And the pro side was from the Gorski car side, which I can totally fucking understand because Gorski's a small gang kind of guy. What is the problem with the idea?
Gangs?
What's that?
Why does it have to be small gangs? I mean, why couldn't
you could do
doesn't
1v1,
necessarily have to do that, but
2v2, and 4v4. I think that's a perfect idea.
I think that somebody that comes from kind of a small gang community would be would be more open to the idea of being able to have an arena where people just can kind of jump in and have a fight than somebody who is more engaged with sort of a fleet meta, right? My thing was more along the lines of, look, we are the EVE community. We are what we are, and we have a bunch of niches that are involved in that and whatnot. But out there in the broader gaming world, we obviously see these instances of, and I don't mean to use the word instances right now, but like we see these examples of people who are like, you know what, look, I just want to be able to have 15, 20 minutes of like, let me get into that kind of fucking combat. And then other times I want to do these other things. Why could we not build that within the freaking EVE universe, but also still be able to have everything else that we have out there within the environment? Go.
Okay. So the boundary keeps shrinking, right? So you start at like a 200-kilometer boundary, and then it keeps shrinking. Is that your idea, or you want something more vast in a system?
I don't know if it needs to be.
It could literally be anything that you want it to be. We're talking about a place where people go for whatever the setup type of combat is at the fucking time. Yeah. I'm not talking about Titans on frigates. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so I don't know if you need it to be that complex to have like some kind of shrinking like mechanics, or it could just be like an arena set. Like these are the guys. Fight to the death, go. I'm fine with it. I like it, and the fact that I don't know how popular it would be. I don't know if a lot of people use it, but you would definitely have enough people using it that it would not be like a dead mechanic that no one used, because there's a lot of people that like it's like the whole 1v1 me at the sun. Well, there's always room for interference with that from other people, or also there's the bait of like, yeah, let's 1v1, and then they uncloak their their booster and then the other ship on the side that and so if you have these actual arenas, it gets rid of that deception. You're going into an arena where it is a specific this group versus this group regardless of the numbers, and so it is and I don't know, like they would have to get into the minutia of like, okay, we're gonna set up like a tournament style where like there's a point basis. So if you bring a couple cruisers and 2 frigates, the other people could bring like 8 frigates or something. You know, so they'd have to go into like all the details with that. But I mean, I'm fine with it. Anyone that's against it, I don't know why. Because like if you don't like it, don't do it. There's gonna be people that would like it.
Why not? Why not? I mean, look, the biggest issue with small gang fights is finding content. I mean, this is guaranteed content. You know you're going to get a fight. I can't tell you the number of times we've taken out 10, 15-man roams, and you just you hope you find something or some group that's willing to form to come up and fight against you in something that's less than a blob. You know, so if you have the opportunity to go to an arena, why not? That sounds like a great idea, and I would do it just like the Alliance tournament.
Or maybe it takes the energy. It takes the energy out of the game itself, so then you have even less opportunities.
Why would it take the energy? Let me throw this in there. Why would it take the energy out of the game? If you want to gank, guess what? Ganking has nothing to do with this at all. If you want to gate camp, guess what? People are going to still be coming through ganks. If you want to hunt Rorquals, guess what? The Rorquals and miners are still going to be out there doing these things. It shouldn't take away anything from those people that want to hunt the prey that is still out there. But what it does is it allows for short-term combat. And I'm not talking here about like, invented, it costs nothing sort of combat. You still got to bring your ship to the game. And there are still kind of rules and constraints involved with any of these arenas, right? Like everybody seems to like the idea of things like the Alliance tournament. Then why not create something that is sort of based on the idea of not necessarily Alliance tournament gameplay where we're talking about like guys that work out together and like, lift weights in their fucking off time and shit together. Okay. But just jumping into a place and showing what your individual fucking PvP capability is against 10 or 20 other fucking people.
Well, and okay, so there's a couple things in chat that are bringing up some point. Oh, go ahead, Matterall, if you got something.
Sorry, why not do a mining thing, right? They have fishing shows.
I'm not saying don't have fucking mining opportunities as well. That's not what I'm saying.
That sounds like the most boring thing I've ever heard in my life.
Have you ever watched a fishing show?
Dude, I'm totally gonna fucking stream that one day when we have fucking mining bass championships.
Something happens in fishing. I mean, what's the exciting thing with
something
mining?
happens in
the belts.
They catch a fish. If they don't catch a fish, it doesn't make it to the TV.
It's how many fishes you catch, how fast, kind of thing. And
I would do that. I'd fucking mining bass pro.
I don't have my corporation would love mining.
Fish are friends, not
hashtag trademark.
All right, so real quick though, so Cheeto was saying I don't like it.
Space Bass Pro.
Cheeto, I gotta scroll up. Yeah, I'll do a shot. Okay, so Cheeto was saying I don't like it because
at least fucking talk while you're fucking talking.
I just scroll up. And I had to make sure I activate the right one so I don't get muted. He says, I don't like it because it takes the PvP out into another realm. PvP and EVE is in the game, not in some other realm. Now, my point against that is the fact that PvP will always still be in the game. Even if you have these side arena fights off to the side, that's not going to be the 100% of PvP. That's going to be, actually, in my opinion, the vast small majority of PvP going on in the game. That's going to be like these small groups of people that's what they want to do for PvP because they don't want to go out and roam because of the unknown nature of it, and those are people that probably wouldn't necessarily, maybe they would PvP anyway, but it's like PvP and EVE I don't think will be touched or affected by this very much, if at all. I think that this is going to be people that want to do like let's just test ourselves against this group. People will set up their own little tournaments, they'll do all this other stuff, and there's going to be the people that's the type of PvP they want is these arena battles, and they don't want the normal
gladiators. Gladiators weren't just one guy in armor against another guy in armor. It was like 2 tigers, 1 elephant, go.
No, those were Christians with a bunch of fucking like animals and shit. Okay, the gladiators were different.
The point is throw 5 skiffs against 2 battleships and mix it up. Do something else. I don't know.
No, and I'm not talking about look. I'm not necessarily saying that this should be, kind of fucking PUBG or Fortnite, where it's battle royale, or I think, actually I think battle royale actually works well, right? If you limit it and it's like you can't team up and all that kind of shit where it's just you get thrown in there and and have to fight it out kind of thing. That's one thing. It doesn't mean that you can't take instance combat and turn it into 3v3 or like more Alliance tournament type stuff. I am not trying to argue the idea of any one specific way of doing it. I'm more saying what if we actually came up with a place and a way through thoughtful fucking, concept of this that we can create sort of this instance combat? It doesn't take away from these other places, because I'm going to tell you right now, if all you've got is 15 minutes, if all you've got is an hour, you're not sitting there saying, let me get involved in this fucking gate camp where nothing may come for the next 3 hours.
Dirk, we've already got that, though. I mean, we've got that with the Alliance tournament. Just why don't we just make the tournament space available for people to use?
Well, okay, so
but it's once a year.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
why can't we do it every day?
I was just about to.
But there are an enormous number of rules that are attached to that, and this needs to be a little more limited in rules.
Well, I mean,
still have rules and constraints.
Let people set the rules themselves.
Well, and I was
Drayden,
just saying,
you're trying to talk, sir.
No, sorry, that's fine. Because Cheetah came back and was saying, so we were creating scenarios where there is some sort of PvP encounter at all, and it's like exactly, and Dirk just mentioned on that where it's like, there are those people that they're like, I want to go PvP, and they go roaming around. I've done it before. I'm not much of a solo PvPer, but I've tried it before. I'm like, I'm going to go do this. And I literally would spend 2 hours flying system to system trying to find something and finding nothing. And so it's like, that's frustrating. Because like, I actually want to go do a PvP, but if you have these encounters, like, I know I can just go to one of those and be guaranteed PvP when I want it.
Would that distract from the game though, like with people doing faction warfare? Because like I roam, because like
why?
I'm thinking
if you
this
want
would
to
be
do
like
faction warfare, you should be doing faction warfare.
True,
you shouldn't
very
be
true.
pretending that you're just fucking hunting for things that aren't there.
I mean, I hunt for things in faction warfare, but I do not actively partake in faction warfare. So would that detract from someone like me who roams faction warfare trying to find plexes and shit, or would that like help improve maybe my experience because instead of having to roam, I can just have it instantly? And I can find people who are also PvP fit instead of warping in and they warp away. Do you
want to actually engage somebody who is looking to be engaged? If you want to freaking like jack up behind somebody out there who's unsuspecting, then you probably want to go out there into the fucking wild. If you want to actually go up against somebody and go skill for skill on somebody, then you're going to look for a more frameworked environment to say, you know what, this is about my skill on your skill. And that is what I'm talking about here.
Right.
And I think that will actually shed a bunch of people out there who think that they're big fucking baller PvPers when really what they are is just like fucking laying, ready to lay the dick on the back neck of
would that be on Tranquility? Would that be on Tranquility, or would that be on like a separate server?
No, it would actually be on a fucking server where the fucking is counted, where it all fucking counted. You've got to lay it out
Tranquility.
There.
Like I'd have to buy my shit.
This is an Eve-oriented fucking conversation we're happening here.
House Hendo
not sissy, not fucking any of that
House
shit.
Hendo, yes.
Yeah, House Hendo.
Shots, and we are out of time. We are out of time.
Thanks for the sub, House. That was 8 months, right? Let me look.
For all y'all talking shit, we dunked on some dreads, so you're welcome. Origin number 1. Join Origin. Join Origin.
Shots.
I wasn't there, but I'll still throw
number
1.
We are totally dealing with fucking incels in the after show, so it's like
join
all right,
because we're having that fucking meetup out in Vegas.
All right, we'll do a shot.
I've been owed sex for a long time, and I feel like pulling that debt tonight.
Wait, JC down 15 minutes.
all that being said, I'm just totally fucking killing it. It's like, you fucking incels. Really? Seriously? Is this a word? Is that literally a word? I can't even think of the word impel the ship, the Tech 2 fucking deep space transport or whatever, without thinking about this nasty term that only came up in the last week and a half.
All right,
anyway,
shots.
Boom.
All right. All right, we're out. Thanks everyone for the show. Good show tonight.
I want to thank everybody who's here at Matterall. Thank you for coming on, being our minder. We didn't step over the line. Can you please report that back to management?
And I would like to thank for coming.
I'd love to come back. It's great.
I would like to thank the Senate Majority Leader for coming on tonight.
Yeah. All right. So we're out for now. I'm assuming. Are we doing after show?
We get a later.
Nobody ever knows until like we just show up.
All right. Well,
and then we lose everybody except me and you. And
I'm
then
doing
I
a quick bio before we go. But anyway, we're out for the night and later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
Later, bitches.
Good night, everybody.